Hi, I'm back. Okay, we're going to go right into it. Never negotiate your standards. Your standards should always be non negotiable. Never, ever, ever bargain with the standards that you have, especially when it comes to men. I made a video about this, but the reason why men are so low quality, especially now, is because you all accept them while they are low quality. Meanwhile, they're not going to even look your way while they deem you as low quality. And if they do look your way while you are low quality, they are only looking your way because they know that you are most likely desperate enough to want to deal with them while they are low quality. So that's the only reason why they're even going to tolerate a woman who is not up to par with how they actually want her to look or how they actually want her to act. It's just they know that she is desperate and they don't want to work very hard to get access to a woman. Okay. Which is the reason why you should never negotiate your standards. The best way for you to get what it is that you want in life is to never negotiate what it is that you want in life. How are you going to expect to get what you want in life, but you're over here trying to bargain with things just so that you have a little bit of something? That's not worth it. That's not worth it. Even when men would try to tell me, "Oh, you should just settle. Your expectations are too high." You want to know what I would tell them? I would say, "You're right. You know, I could settle." And I said, "But you want to know what else? I would settle and then I would just cheat. I would just cheat on you if you wanted me to settle for you because I'm just going to go look for what you're lacking in elsewhere. So why would you want me to do that? I'm not going to sit here and have that mentality of I'm leaving here with something. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to have a mentality of I'm leaving here with something. Do you get a house and you're like, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'll buy the house when, the hinges are messed up on the door. I'll buy the house when there's black mold going because you want a house so bad." No, you're going to make sure that everything in the house is inspected. You're going to make sure that everything in the house is up to par because you're putting in an investment to purchase that home. Anytime you decide to deal with a man, that's an investment. Okay, because this man is expecting for you to invest your body. That's the number one thing that they're wanting you to invest in. They're wanting you to invest in your body because yes, sleeping with men is an investment. It's a spiritual investment, it's a physical investment, it's a mental investment. That's already an investment. You're investing your beauty into dealing with men, okay? Because you also have to realize that this man is going to get approached more and more women are going to pay more attention to him because he's with you. Okay? There are a lot of women out here that have a mindset where they want to stick it out and they want to ride it out, and the reason why they want to ride it out is because they kind of feel as though I've given up so much and I've invested so much, I don't want to miss out and have the next woman reap the benefits of what it is that I've already built up. When in reality, you sticking it out with him and allowing him to mooch off your beauty is actually putting more women in his lap. You do realize that, right? If that wasn't the case, men would be more apt to divorce more, but they're not because they get more benefits being with a woman. They get more attention from women when they're with a woman. So you thinking that you riding it out, no, you actually riding it out is going to give him more of an opportunity to find somebody else because the next woman, once she has more curiosity as to why you're even with him, right? That's what Jermaine Dupri had said when he was with Janet Jackson. He said, when I was with Janet Jackson, it just got more women. It got me more women. And come on, we all know how Jermaine Dupri looks. Like, come on, we know Jermaine Dupri ain't over here. He ain't over here with a harem of women with the way he looks, and he's short. That's the reason. The reason being was because Janet Jackson was the one adding all of that beauty to him, right? And it took Janet Jackson, some 50 odd years to realize that they're only good for their money. I mean, come on, it took for her to get married to a drug addict, married to a controlling man, for her to finally put two and two together to realize I'm only going to be in it for the money. And that's it. After she wasted 10 years of her time with Jermaine Dupri, when in reality, he was just reaping the benefits of her sticking around that long because he was able to attract more women while he was with her. He wouldn't have been able to attract a fraction of those women while he was single, right? You're also investing your emotional labor into these men. They want to trauma dump on you. They want to cry to you about when they got rejected in first grade. They want to complain to you about how they didn't get that big promotion at their job. They want to trauma dump on you. And then when it comes time for you to you want to have space be held for you to be vulnerable, and for you to be emotional. Oh, you just need to get over it. That's a part of life. You worry too much. You care too much. No space is really held for you. Also, before I keep rambling, don't forget, if you're into the spiritual channel, you can subscribe to the spiritual channel. I know that I haven't posted on there lately, but honestly, with the spiritual channel lately, I've kind of been in like a little brain fart lately. Honestly, I have been in a little bit of a brain fart. But also, don't forget to like the live stream. Don't forget to subscribe. And then also, I finally have a code with Womanizer. Okay, if you're a woman and you're tired of these men not helping you in the bedroom, okay, or you're just, maybe there's some couple stuff that you want to get into. I have a brand partnership with the brand Womanizer. I do have a discount code. They currently have 50% off. Also, my Wi-Fi probably is like weird or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I can do it in a lower resolution if it's like becoming too much of an issue for you guys. But Womanizer has 50% off of Patreon, not Patreon, sorry, I'm reading the comments at the same time. Womanizer is currently running a deal on their toys, on their self-pleasure toys, 50% off. In addition to the 50% off, you will get some money off by using my code. The code is A as in Apple, F as in Frank, F as in Frank, dash Queen. So AFF dash Queen. So you'll get 50% off plus some money off using my code. You can combine them together. I already tried it, so I already know that it works. Lots of goodies over there on Womanizer. Because these men aren't going to help you get there. So you might as well get you some self-pleasure toys. I really love the brand. And yeah, there's that. And then also the Patreon. I have the link to the Patreon as well. I got rid of the link completely for the consultations. People were still able to find it. So I just want to put a little disclaimer out there. I'm not doing any consultations. Maybe in the future, when I'm not working full time, I will do them again, but I'm currently not doing any consultations. So I have the link off. You shouldn't be able to book anything with me because I had a couple people try to book with me. Shouldn't be able to book, but no more consultations. So Patreon, spiritual channel, Womanizer, and then if you want some exclusive content, you can join the membership tier. If you just go to the main page of my channel, it'll have like join membership tiers, and it'll have all of like the subscribers that are joining in the membership tier, and then you could pick what tier you want to be in: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Okay. So yeah, that's that. So anyway, back to what I was talking about with negotiating your standards. I look at it like this. You're entitled to have your standards, and your standards can be as high as you want them to be, because at the end of the day, your standards really should be a reflection of yourself, and your standards should be a reflection of what you give yourself. Also, thanks for the compliments. Today was wash day, so my hair has like no volume. Um, it doesn't really look like how I would want it to look, but I literally washed my hair and did everything a few hours ago. So I'm not in love with it because it's kind of like it's still casting. But you should not feel guilty for having your standards high, because the thing about it is that a lot of people will try to guilt trip you, especially as a woman. People will try to guilt trip you and try to make it seem as if something's wrong with you because you have high standards. And the thing about it is that they're just trying to project onto you the fact that they're uncomfortable with the fact that if they don't, they have a better chance of not getting their standards met, and so they want to project that onto you with the fact that you should have to settle because they've chosen to settle, right? And at the end of the day, you don't have to settle, okay? Any person that's trying to make you feel bad or trying to say that your standards are too high or that you're being unrealistic, they don't know what they're talking about, okay? They have a scarcity mindset and they're afraid of being alone, and they're afraid of sitting with the discomfort of being with themselves, as opposed to just, you know, deciding, hey, I'm not gonna sit here and just only get a fraction of what I want. Because come on, in everything else in life, you're usually not going to settle on getting a fraction of it is what you want. You're not going to settle for a fraction of a car. You're not going to buy a car with 3 tires on it. The car is not operable. And that's how I look at my standards. If you cannot hit my standards, you're about as useful as a car with 3 tires. The car can run, like the engine cuts on, and that's great. The engine cuts on, that's wonderful. I can't drive this goddamn thing. So the engine working, the battery working, the alternator working, all of that stuff working is wonderful. But if the car has fucking 3 tires and not 4, I can't do anything with that. It's a useful car at that point. And so that's how you have to look at your standards, because I am sorry, there's never going to be a time in life that you don't regret if you ever decided to negotiate your standards. You're always going to regret negotiating your standards, because the thing that you negotiated your standards on, the standard that you decided to negotiate and try to make it seem as if it wasn't a big problem, if you reflect back and you think back, you realize that, especially in relationships, that thing ends up being the thing that you ended up resenting the most. So, like, for instance, one of my exes, he lived in the city. And at the time, I wasn't a city girl. I lived maybe like an hour away. I lived in the suburbs. And so in the suburbs, you needed a vehicle, right? He lived in the city. He didn't need a vehicle. So he didn't have a vehicle. And really, this was kind of like a cautionary tale, because he actually did have a vehicle, but he was irresponsible. He ended up getting too many tickets in the city, and they repoed his car. And, over time, when your car is like in like the repo and towing, they keep adding on, daily a fee. And so they priced up the fee so high where it got to the point where, like, I honestly think that it was going to cost more for him to get the car out of towing as opposed to what he had paid to actually buy the vehicle. So he went without a car or whatever. And so I was young at the time. Okay. I was young at the time. And so I really wasn't thinking like, I had my standard, and in my head, my standard was at like, okay, I have a car. It's like the man that I wish should have a car. And the thing about it is that this is how people will gaslight you. He's like, well, I live in the city. I could just take the train. He's like, I take the train to work. So he's like, it's not an issue. Like, I live in the city. It was a fucking issue. It was a fucking issue. And I was too young at the time to like really realize, but it was a fucking issue. Because the thing about it is that, okay, yeah, sure, he lived in the city. Okay, but he also had family that was outside of the city. Okay, so guess who had to drive their car for us to go visit the family that was outside of the city? Yeah, I had to drive my car. Okay, I had to drive my fucking car. And he actually would kind of like use this as like a form of like weaponization in our relationship, because I would only stay over there only on the weekend. And every morning I had to be at work at like maybe 8 o'clock, and he was like an hour away from my work. And so sometimes occasionally he would want to stay out super fucking late at his family's house. And I would have to be like, dude, we have an hour drive back. I still got to get ready for bed, and I have to wake up way earlier than you. Like, you don't have to be at work until 9 o'clock. And at one point he was working from home. I'm like, I have to wake up, get ready, and drive an hour back to fucking work. Right. So sometimes he would try to like stay out late, and I'm like, honestly, you're trying to stay out late because like you want to use this as a form of weaponization, because it's like, technically I have the car, but of course you're going to make it a big old deal in the car if I decide to cut you off and decide that we need to go back home because I need to get sleep or whatever. So what I started doing, I just started inconveniencing him. So his aunt really liked me. She did. His auntie really, really liked me. And so what I started doing was I just Uno reversed it. And so I was inconveniencing us. I would stay talking and talking and talking and talking to his auntie. He was like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And I'm like, no, we're not going to go. I have the keys. We can't go anywhere until I want to go. Because see, before, you're trying to weaponize the idea of, I'm ready to go. Okay, well, guess what? I'm not. I'm not. And guess what? It was so funny because then his auntie would even back me up because she was enjoying our conversation so much. And so she's like, what do you think you're doing? She would like talk shit to him and be like, what do you think you're doing trying to like cut our conversation short? And I'm like, see, I would be like, he doesn't want me to talk to you. He doesn't want me to stay over and keep talking to you. So I Uno reversed that shit on him so fast. I Uno reversed that shit on him so fast. And it's so funny because I ended up breaking up with him, and we don't communicate anymore. We don't communicate anymore. I have broken up with him, and he would still bring it up like occasionally. He's like, you know what? He's like, you know what? I'm never getting a car. He was like, I want to make it very clear to you that I'm never getting a car, because he was trying to, first of all, he was trying to get back with me. And I straight up told him, I said, there are things that you lack in the relationship. Because the thing about it is that overall, and like, this is why it's just easy for me to be single. They say good man, right? I don't want a good man. Okay. I don't want a good man. I want a great man. Okay. Because a good man is not even an average man. A good man is actually below average. And so I had told him, I said, listen, because he was trying to talk about getting back together. And I was like, okay, you're telling me your standard of the fact that like you're never going to get a car, but like I require for someone to have a car. Like that's my standard. You know what I'm saying? My standard is that you have to have a car, because I'm never going through this again. I'm never going through this again at all. I'm never going to deal with a man that doesn't have a car. It's a non-negotiable for me. And I said, so you have your standards and I have my standards. And so from that point, like moving forward, nope, I didn't care if they were in the city. I didn't care what excuse they had. I had no excuse there. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was that he didn't purchase a vehicle. He purchased a motorcycle. Mind you, this is in fucking Chicago. So you don't want to get a vehicle that you can use for all 4 seasons. You want to get a fucking motorcycle. And guess what God did to him? He got a motorcycle, a Ducati. Okay, if you don't know a whole lot about motorcycles, Ducati is kind of like the BMW, Mercedes-Benz of like motorcycle brands. Like it's, like considered to be like, a nice, like, semi like high end, brand or whatever of like motorcycles or whatever. And so he purchases a motorcycle, and we live in fucking Chicago, meaning that I'm not going to ride around you in the back of the motorcycle. Number one. Number two, In Chicago, you're only going to be able to ride that motorcycle for fucking like what, 7 to 9 months out of the year. If you're lucky, 9 months out of the year. And so, guess what? He had his motorcycle parked, and someone was parking their vehicle and they fucked his motorcycle up. He didn't even have that motorcycle for like a month. I don't even think he had it for someone fucked up the motorcycle and his motorcycle was parked. That was even funny. Motorcycle was fucking parked. It wasn't even like he got into an accident. Someone hit his shit parking. Oh man, that was great. That was great. I said, yes. I said, the universe is making a fool out of you because where is the logic? Where is the logic? There was no logic in that. Like, honestly, the money that he put down, for that motorcycle could have been spent on a goddamn vehicle, a vehicle that would be able to transport you 12 months out of the year, in Chicago when it's fucking raining, snowing. Like, come on. Like, that doesn't make any logical sense. We're not in fucking, not even Florida, you can really have a motorcycle for real because it rains a lot here. But come on, like, we're not in Arizona, you know what I mean? We're not in New Mexico, we're not in fucking Texas. Like, come on. Yeah, it was so ridiculous. So yeah, and I was so young when I was in this relationship. But the thing about it is that women, I think we feel bad. I think the hardest thing with women keeping their standards high is the fact that everyone is always trying to demonize us. Thank you for the super sticker. I heart Carolyn. I appreciate you. I think the most difficult thing with us having standards, everyone tries to make women feel bad for having standards. Everybody. Men, your family members, your girlfriends, everyone is always trying to shame a woman for having her standards high, which is essentially is trying to groom you into making you feel as though you're a mean person or you're a bad person for having standards. You're not a bad person for having standards. That's why you should never negotiate them. You're not an awful person for wanting what you want. Because at the end of the day, if it is always going to be, I get what I want or I get nothing at all, you're not hurting anybody. This is what I don't understand. That's the reason why I tell men that try to convince me to settle. I say, okay, I'll settle and I'm going to cheat on you. I'm going to cheat on you because I'm not getting everything that I want. So in turn, you want me to settle and then hurt you in the process because that's what men do. Men settle and then hurt everybody in the process because they rather just not be alone. No, I'd rather be alone if I'm not going to get what I want to get, and then just going ahead and not hurt anybody in the process. That's the safest thing. That's the safest thing to do. No, it's fine. You won't get cheated on. You won't get cheated on, and I won't be wasting my goddamn time. Right? Everybody is happy at that point. So that's what y'all just start telling men. When they're trying to give you that, you should settle, say, okay, I'll settle and I'll cheat. I'll settle and I'll cheat because I'm not going without, because that's exactly how men think. Men, literally, that's exactly how they think. I will settle and I'm still not going to go without. I'm going to make sure that I can get all of my needs met from as many different women as possible. Because the thing about it too is that women are just much more groomed to want to meet the standards of men. Men don't want to meet standards of women. They don't feel like they have to. Which is the reason why you should keep your standards high. Keep your standards high so that way the person that does come into your life that wants to do things for you, they're going to do things for you. Because guess what? After that shit with Mr. No Car Man, I was always getting picked up. It was never an issue with me having to drive anywhere. Straight up passenger princess. I never settled for that shit again. Never settled for that shit again. And Yeah, that for that, like, because that was my first real relationship. Like, that was the first time that I was in a relationship because I was kind of a late bloomer. I was a very late bloomer um with relationships. And so after that, I was like, oh no, oh no, my standards are going through the roof. Certain things have to be required for any of this to happen. No, 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 no. So had no issue like having someone that like had their shit together. But like I said before, with most men, it's just they're good and not great. And for me, it's just like, no, it's not worth it. Like, I don't want to bargain. I feel like as women, you shouldn't have to bargain to deal with men. And I feel like for a lot of women, we're bargaining everything. Like, the money will be there, but the looks won't be there. Or maybe the looks and the money will be there, but the emotional intelligence will be there. And I get it that not everybody has everything. That's impossible. You can't dump everything onto one person. But the thing about it is that, like, men are just only good at one thing. Like, honestly, men are not really multifaceted. That's the reason why they have a hard time seeing women outside of one box that they see us in. They just think that you're boxed into one thing and that's it. But that's how men are. Like, men are usually, they really only have one good attribute. They usually only have one good attribute. Like, oh, okay, you have money, but you're old. Like, you're not funny. Like, they might smell bad. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, they have, like, for like five cons, they have one pro. And it's just like, I can't overlook that to be with a man. Okay. I cannot overlook that to be with a man. Like, I was watching a story time. Listen to this. Okay. Listen to this. This is going to blow your mind. I was watching a girl on TikTok yesterday and she had a story time. And the story time was about how she met this guy and she just loved how attractive he was. She was like, he was so cute. She's a taller woman. So she was very impressed by the fact that this man was taller than her. Okay. So she's impressed by the fact that he's taller than her. His breath stank. Okay. She said his breath stank. She was willing to overlook the fact that his breath stank because he was taller than her. Okay? There's more to the story. And I already knew where this story was going because the caption said something was wrong with his Jimmy. Okay? She said something was wrong with his Jimmy. So when she said his breath stank, I already knew what else was stanking. So she said she just overlooked it. She was like, he's cute, but his breath stank or whatever. So I guess they got cool enough where it was time for them to, go to the grown folks stuff or whatever. And so I guess she was trying to show him what that mouth do. And so she said the same thing that I call it. She said that his thing was wearing a turtleneck. That's exactly what I call it. When they're not snipped, when they're not snipped, I call it them wearing a turtleneck. I only seen one of those of my life and I was terrified. Oh my God, I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, what is this thing? So she said that it had on a turtleneck and she was like, I never seen one of those before. So she was like, the first thing that I did, I'm sorry, y'all. I know it's graphic, but you all know, if you know, you should already know. Yeah. All that gook and cheese. Exactly. She said she realized, she said, okay, well, it only made sense for her to peel it back. And then she said when she peeled it back, it was smegma. That's what it's called. The slang term is D cheese. That's what the slang term is. But the real term is called smegma. But yeah, it's from like when they don't go in and like actually clean it. So she was willing, thank God she aborted the mission. She aborted the mission. But ain't no vertical aspect of a man. I'm sorry, okay? A man can't be tall enough for me to fucking overlook a stank breath. Like, I just can't. I can't compromise on the standard of hygiene just because you're tall. And that's the shit I'm talking about, okay? Because if they breath stank, I'm sorry. If they breath stank, everything else is about to stink too. Okay? She aborted mission. She said she never talked to him again. She says she never talked to him again. But that's what I'm fucking talking about. Like, it is such simple, easy things to have to like change. It's such easy things to like make adjustments for, where it's like, I'm sorry, I can't sit here and tell a grown man that he needs to brush his teeth and scrub a dub down there. Like, you just like, you just can't. Like, mm-mm. Why are these men such beggars? Like, obviously that Marshawn person was a man. Get me in the live, get me in the live. They want to be seen so bad. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. Get me in the live, get me in the live. Like, oh my God, they're worse than a groupie. They're fucking worse than a groupie. Let me backstage, let me backstage. Ooh, let me back. Like, oh my God. Just begging. And be talking about women. You women got your hand out. Oh my God, no. Y'all men got y'all hand out. Breath stinking is usually an issue. Yeah. Or he has gut issues, poor diet, and dehydrated, which most of them do. Most of them do. They're over here eating chicken wings and Hennessy all goddamn day. Gut health is in the fucking toilet. Ain't had a regular bowel movement and I don't know how long. I'm over here eating kimchi, fucking drinking kombucha, over here, drinking my kefir and my faye, and your ass is over here drinking nothing but fucking acid, smoking weed, and eating fucking pumped up hormonal chicken wings. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, they don't go to the dentist at all. At all. I can't believe some man told me, he was like, I haven't seen a primary care physician in 10 years. I said, oh, all right, I'm out of here. 10 years you haven't seen a primary care physician, and the guy was like 34 at the time. So you mean to tell me since 24 you haven't fucking seen anybody? And I'm supposed and you're talking about I should be swapping fluids with you? Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, these men can't even stack money, but they can stack plaque. Can't stack money, but can stack plaque. Plaque be all the way up on their teeth. Yep. Sperm quality is super low. Super low. They say that in the United States, the World Health Organization, the sperm, the sperm only has to be in like the 95, the fifth percentile. I always get percentile backwards. It's always backwards. I think it's not, I think it's what, fifth, and then that means that 95% of everybody else's sperm is better. So they literally have it so low where 95% globally, everyone else's sperm is better than US men's sperm when they do a sperm analysis for like pregnancy and like what they deem like, and this is like what they would deem for like a sperm bank. This is what they would allow for a sperm bank. So literally for the sperm quality for a man here in the United States, 95% of men globally can have better sperm than him, and he's still good to go. And that causes a lot of issues with children. A lot of issues with children. This is why, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and listen to men talking about how women's bodies should look, how our hair should look, how our skin should look. And it's like, sir, you haven't even been to a doctor. You haven't been to a dentist. Like, it's like, sir, I want to see your mind chart. Okay. Before you start telling people how their bodies should look, bring on over that mind chart. All right. And then maybe I'll listen to a little bit of something that you're saying. Until that mind chart, until I see that my chart from within like a month or two, okay, then maybe you can have some validity. All right. But no, no. It is so crazy. Like hygiene, that shouldn't even be a standard that you're asking of another person. You see, hygiene was why I ended up dumping my last ex-boyfriend. Okay. I ended up dumping him for hygiene. First of all, I would talk shit about his dog. I would be like, that dog fucking stinks. And he was attached to that fucking dog. I said, this dog fucking stinks. I said, you got this dog at your business. The damn dog is stinking up your business establishment. You got the damn dog in the car. Your brand new car smells like shit. Then I had never went over there, y'all. This is when I broke up with him. I broke up with him like 2 days later after this. So I had never went over to his place. And so whenever like I was back in town for working, I took a local job. Okay. I took a local job, but it was like maybe 50 miles away from home. So I still ended up renting out a place that was kind of close to my job. So one day he talked shit or whatever, and he was like, you live in the hood. But he lived in the hood too. And mind you, I didn't live there. I just was renting the place out because it was close. I was renting the place because it was close to where I worked. It was just temporary for my 3-month assignment. I said, well, nigga, you live in the hood too, and you permanently live in the hood. This is just where I'm at because I work close and I'm just on assignment here. Okay. That's the first fucking thing. I go over his house. You know those leather couches where they have the fake leather and like the leather was like peeled off? It was a combination of like hygiene and cleanliness. He let that dog peel off all that fucking fake leather. Mind you, this is the first time I've been over his house. He let that dog peel off all the fake leather off of that fucking couch. Then I go into his room. Why is the dog's cage in his bedroom? And mind you, he's in a small ass room. His bedroom's super fucking small. So now you got this, you're not responsible. You're not responsible. You got this stinky ass dog in your room. So your room smells like shit. He's a business owner too. Room smells like shit. Brand new car, because he ended up getting a brand new car when he was with me. Okay. It wasn't even, here's the thing, it didn't smell like pee. But like for instance, I had a cocker spaniel. Cocker spaniel's ears can get like real stinky because they can like build a lot of yeast because they have those flappy ears. So like I always would have to be on top of that with my cocker spaniel. I think that breed of dog that he had, it smelled real yeasty. That's what it smelled like. It smelled real yeasty. And you have to be on top of it because it also could be like what you're feeding the dog and things like that. Like that's what I had to do. I had to make sure his ears were clean, and we had to be real strict on his diet and kind of keep his diet like more grain free. So that way all of that yeast wouldn't accumulate. And I told him that. I said, your dog smells like fucking yeast. And I said that it's smelling everywhere. It's stinking every fucking where. It was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. I was like, oh my freaking gosh. Like, I was like, this is gross. So I broke up with his ass. Oh, and then another thing too, he sure was competing with me. So you want to know another thing that he said? So he would drive to come see me, but also like I would always stay at my dad's house whenever I was like, home. And like I said before, the place where I was working and had another place at, it was like 50 miles away. So when I wasn't working for 3 days out the week, I would go back home and be at my dad's home because like my dad has a very nice home. And that was like around the area where my ex at the time had lived. So, he'd be like, I don't want you to drive in the rain or whatever. And I'm like, I'm driving back. Like, I want to be at my dad's place. Like, I want to be where I'm comfortable. Like, I don't like being here and I don't really like being in like this area. I said, I want to go back to my dad's house, so I'm going to drive. And so he tried to say his brand new car was used. Okay. And this exposed the fact that his brand new car was used. I brought my car brand new, fresh off the lot before it even was the year. It was that type of situation. I think I bought it in 2021, but it was 2022. Not flexing or anything. Like, I'm just saying. So he said, I could tell it was so disingenuous. He said, well, I don't want you to put all those miles on your car. And I said, I bought my car brand new. It's barely any miles on it. He said, oh. I'm like, nigga, you clearly just don't want to see me. So that was like another sign too. We weren't together that long. We were only together. I dumped his ass after 2 months. I don't even think we made it to 2 months. I dumped his ass so quick, and I made a promise to myself. I said, Lord, this is the last one I got in me. And I kept that promise. I said, if this relationship don't work out, I'm out of here. I'm done. I got the ick after like a month and a half. But baby, I got a trip. I got money out of him. I got gifts. That I'm still using to this day. He bought me a lot of stuff. He bought me a lot of stuff. And I'm like, he probably love bombing, but once the love bombing stopped, and now it's another thing too, he started talking about him having business issues and stuff like that. Bitch, I was out of there. Bitch, I was fucking out of there. He was like, I owe all this money on taxes and the business is taking a hit. All right, I'm out. I'm out. You don't have to worry about me. You don't have to worry about me. It's good. It's cool. It's Gucci. I'm fine. Girls be like, I don't want him love bombing me. Girl, just leave when the love bombing starts, okay? Get them that's why you got to keep your standards high, because you got to remember, even when they drop in standards, even if they meet your standard and then they drop in standard, you got to go. Okay, you got to go. That's why your standards have to be non-negotiable. You can't sit here and be like, well, he was paying for everything and buying everything, for the first 6 months. And now he's asking me to go 50-50. And now he's, talking about how he's financially struggling. Bye. You put this was what it said on the contract. Okay. The contract stated that these are my standards, and that if you do not continuously meet these standards, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. It's like a job. You have like your little your evaluation and all that stuff, and they say, they give you your little performance review, for your raise or whatever. And they pretty much say like, hey, this is the standard that you're supposed to meet or whatever. And then if you don't meet the standard, then you don't get a raise. That's the thing. A lot of men, they'll give you everything you want. They will hit your standards, especially if you tell them your standards. That's another thing. You can't tell them your standards, okay? Men should already look at you and see that you've invested a lot into yourself, where they know that they'll have to make large investments into you. That should be the first thing, okay? People will want to invest in you when they see that you invest into yourself. That's very, very important. So when a man starts off making the investment, that's great. Keep making the investment. And another thing too is that you'll know, a very easy way to know if their effort is going to reduce down is if you ask yourself, can they keep this up? Like, for instance, I knew he was love bombing me because, number one, we lived about 40 minutes away from each other, okay? He would always drive to see me. And there would even be times where, let's just say that we were like, for instance, he lived closer to the city than I did. I lived the opposite way of the city. Okay. He could get to the city probably in about 20 minutes. It would probably take me about 45 minutes to enter the city versus his 20. He would literally drive. He would leave his place near the city, pick me up, and then drive us both back to the city. I knew he couldn't keep that shit up. I knew that he could not keep that shit up because logically, it doesn't really make sense to keep doing that. I mean, honestly, does not logically make sense to do that. So already in my head, I'm like, he can't keep this up because this is kind of fucking stupid when you think about it. Like, I get it. It's nice. But come on, you're not going to do this for the rest of your life when you're driving out of your way every single time, when most of the things that we do is in the city. Because we both enjoy being in the city more than like being like in the area, in the suburbs that we were at. So you're going to literally take an extra 45 minutes plus the hour it's going to take for us to get to the city from my place to be and keep on doing this. I'm like, no, obviously you're love bombing me, because you can't keep that up. I'm sorry. You can't keep that up. But honestly, when it comes to your standards, you got to keep your foot on their necks. You got to keep your foot on their necks when it comes to your standards, because usually men are reductive in their efforts. Okay. That's a very important thing to realize with men. They're very reductive in their effort. Some of them it may take a year. Some of them it may take 6 months, but at some point they're going to be reductive in their effort. This is why it's very important that you have your standard and you are always doing an audit on if they're hitting your standard and if they're meeting your standard. Because if they're not, and then you don't want them to, and the thing about it is that you need to catch these things early with keeping your standards so high, because they do it so slowly. Because like the car thing really could have been overlooked by a lot of people, because like logically, like I said before, I knew he couldn't keep that up. But once he was like, oh, can you pick, or he was like, oh, can you just drive to my place or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I could drive to your place. I already knew that was going to be the catalyst for his efforts to reduce elsewhere. And then that's where the whole the business and my taxes and that's when all that shit started coming up. And I said, oh yeah, I said, peace out. I said, and you got this stinky ass dog you're obsessed with. He was obsessed with that dog. Like, I think it was Davina that said bestiality. Bitch, I really think it was, honestly. He seemed infatuated with that dog. Honestly, he seemed infatuated with that dog. Like, most men don't even like animals before. And for the few men that I have seen that like animals, they don't like animals that much. Like, it was that line between like emotional support animal. And I'm like, you think this dog is your fucking boyfriend? Like, you're being weird. And my thing about this is that if you love this dog that much, why are you letting this dog smell like shit? Okay. That's not love. You don't let the things you love smell like shit. Okay. I'm sorry. I know I don't. Anything I own, anything I claim to love, I don't let it start stinking. All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, and honestly, his codependent on the animal was so ridiculous. So that was like another thing too. That was like another thing too. The dog got sick, and he had the dog come to work with him still. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. The dog is sick. Like, the dog's having a hard time pissing and stuff. And you still got the dog at work with you. Why is he not at the vet? Oh wow, he would flip cars and have a car and then didn't have one. Then he started complaining about bank fraud and stuff. I should have left. Yeah, girl, he wasn't making no money. And that's what my ex was. He's like, I have to dip into my crypto and da, da, da. And I said, so are we still going out tonight? I didn't give a fuck. Listen, if a man starts complaining about financial issues and talking about, you know, I'm taking this hit, I'm taking that hit, you're still getting me the bag, right? We're still going out to eat, right? Like, I don't give a fuck about what's going on. We are still, the syllabus is still there, right? Like, all the planned things, that's all still happening, right? I don't give a fuck. Figure out a way to make the money. Okay, that was another thing too. We got into a big argument because I literally told him that. I said, I don't care about that. I said, you're a business owner. I said, my father is a business owner. And my father has multiple businesses. I said, figure out another fucking business deal. Oh, he was mad. He was mad. Because see, I usually deal with men that own businesses. I tend to attract men that are business owners, and my father is a business owner. So I know a lot about businesses. And the ex that didn't have a car, He was like trying to become a business owner. And I'm like, find a fucking way then. You're a business owner. That's what business owners are supposed to do. That's what entrepreneurs are supposed to do. You're supposed to figure out another fucking way to make money. I don't care. Figure it out. He was pissed. My ex-boyfriend, he was so pissed off at me. They both were. They're like, you're not supportive. And I said, this is supporting you. I said, this is supporting you. I said, you want me to just sit here and say, oh yeah, be poor, be destitute. And then I put that masculinity thing on them too to really hurt their ego. I'm like, see, this isn't very masculine of you. I said, you're over here complaining about money. I said, this ain't very masculine of you. I said, you should be, I said, a masculine man would be out here figuring out pen to paper how they're going to get more money. And you're over here complaining. I was like, no, it's giving emotional. You shouldn't be emotional over stuff like this. You should be a problem solver, right? Isn't this a problem? Okay, it's time to get solving. Figure out where the money's going to come from. Get creative. I used to work for a doctor that brought his stinking dog to the office daily. I was holding my breath and working. I couldn't believe it. They treat those dogs like shit, honestly. A lot of the time, those men don't even get animals because they want an animal. They literally just get an animal because number one, they want to be able to attract more women. And then number two, they need something else to distract from how weird and fucking creepy they are. So they'll just get a dog, but they won't actually care for the dog. Like, honestly, I think Exoticals United even had mentioned it, but I agree with her. She said that she doesn't trust men with dogs. I don't trust men with dogs. Honestly, after that experience, I give men the side eye when they tell me that when they have dogs. Exactly. Dogs are something to control. That's how I know men aren't right in the head. If I was rich and had a pet, I would spend all my money on the pet. Yes, and y'all know that content creator on Instagram that has Pit Rainstorm. She's got them two blue, I think they're blue pits. They're blue pits. Oh, those men be getting so pissed off because she be treating those dogs like royalty, okay? She be massaging them in coconut oil. She be making them real food. Like I'm talking about, she'll make them steak and mixed vegetables and rice, and she be giving them massages and giving them these nice luxurious baths. She even got a whole TV for these dogs, and she be putting them on the little warming blanket and everything. Them men be having a fit. Those men be having a fucking fit. They're like, that's why she's single and that's why she's gonna die alone. And it's like, bro, she's a lesbian. Like she's in a whole relationship with a woman. I think she actually might be married to a woman. But they're so jealous. It's like you're jealous of a fucking dog. That's how you're supposed to take care of a dog. Like what? That's what you're supposed to do. Like you should want to spoil your animal. That's why I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, something's wrong with them. Like something is wrong with them. They don't want to care for anything. They don't want to nurture anything. All they care about is just being the center of attention. That's all that it is. They're just pissed off that a dog is getting more care and comfort than them. And it's like, okay, well, the dog ain't going to cheat on me. The dog ain't going to give me no STDs. The dog ain't going to lie to me. The dog ain't going to manipulate me. Like, oh, they get on my nerves with how they think. The thing about social media, this is the reason why, as a woman, you cannot tell a man your standards. You can't. If you're going to be dealing with men and dating them, you cannot tell them your standards. They're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out and read the signs on what makes you happy or not. Whenever men ask me my standards, I always say, you'll know. You'll know. You'll know exactly what my standards are. There's no need for you to know that because these men are on this internet watching everybody what women's standards are. All men care about is women and what women think because they want to have access to women. So they'll do whatever they have to do. They'll put on whatever type of mask. They'll purchase whatever they need to purchase just to be able to perform to get a woman. Because for these men, they're just performing, okay? They're just unpaid actors. They are literally unpaid actors. The payment that they want is a wife appliance. That's how they want to be paid for their poor acting. I grew up with cats. I did. I grew up with cats, so it was the opposite for me. Because I grew up with cats, and then later on in life, I got a dog, and I was like, why the fuck are you so clingy? Like, don't get me wrong, like, my cats were never like Velcro onto me. I was used to them like wanting their space, and wanting their time to themselves. But I was like, damn, dog, you really like me. So it was the opposite for me. Cause see, my dog passed like 2 months ago. My dog passed away. He was a family dog that like stayed back home because I ended up giving my dog back to the family so that way I could travel because he's getting old in age and I didn't really want him to go through all that with all this traveling as he was getting older. So and the family has another dog back home. So I also wanted him to be partnered up too for like his last few years of life. But I want a cat. I do. I want a cat. It's just dogs. It's just a lot of responsibility. I grew up with a dog who wasn't clingy, and I have cats now that never leave me alone. Aw. Aw, thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I want a cat. I do. I want a cat. My whole entire feed on social media when I'm scrolling, it ain't nothing but fucking cats. Aw. Aw. Rest in peace. So yeah, now my family just has the other dog, and then they also have a cat. But the cat is like super clingy, but only onto my grandma. The cat is like obsessed with my grandma. My grandma's like, "Get off of me." She likes the cat. She loves the cat, but she doesn't like the cat that much. Like she would lock him out the door, out of her room. She was like, "He wants to sit on top of me and I can't watch my TV." She said he's too clingy. But that's probably because my grandma's aura and mood is just like super chill. Well, yeah, we had two dusty men be in here earlier. We did. We had two dusty men be in here earlier. And I kicked them out. I did. I kicked them out. Let me in the chat. Let me on live. Who are you? What do you think this is, sir? What do you think this is? Come on. I didn't even schedule the live. I just decided to get on here. I will live stream a little bit more this upcoming week because I have the week off from work. So I am going to live stream a little bit more this week. So if there's anything that you want me to talk about, you can leave it in the comments if you would like, or in the chat if you would like. But yeah. Yes, all they do is take up space. Like, even when you have like a male audience, like it's not even good for the algorithm, and like it's not even good for brand deals. Like, men don't spend money. Like, men are not a good target audience at all. Men are terrible to have as a target audience. That's why like a lot of that's why some content creators, they like started doing like that, our pillar stuff, and they like switched over their stuff like Russell Hartley, you know. That's why he switched over his content to more like decentering men content, because like it's a lot better for you to have like a female audience. I believe it. Your latest video with that couple, that did make me feel a type of way, not gonna lie. I mean, like I said before, these men, they want you to look 25 forever. They want you, and it's a skit. It is, it's actually a skit, but it's a real conversation that happened between men and women a lot when it comes to their weight. But that's literally how these men think. They want you to look 25 forever. They want you to look like you never had a baby. They want you to look like you've never lived any type of life. They literally want you to live as if you're in some bubble, getting Botox every day and, ingesting nothing but air and water. Like that's literally what they expect of women. Meanwhile, they'll be bald, fat, halitosis. The D can't even get hard, you know. They'll look like that and be so quick to point the finger and be like, you need to lose weight and you need to la la la, you need to do this. And it's like, sir, have you even gotten on your own meal plan? All right. Have you even gotten on a treadmill? Exactly. Natural women. Exactly. And it's like, no, you want a natural woman that looks like she has a BBL. You want a natural woman that has hair flowing down her back that's like wavy. Like, you want a naturally perfect woman. That's really what you want. Any tips for quitting the plant? Trying to find motivation to quit and level up. Honestly, you really should ask yourself why. Okay. You should ask yourself why you're even smoking it in the first place. Like, I know for me, I was just smoking it to sleep, but then I was realizing that the sleep wasn't very restful. I know a lot of people will smoke it because they don't like their dreams that they're having when they're not smoking it. And I've made a video about it on the spiritual channel. A lot more a lot more of your subconscious thoughts and programming, all that's happening while you're sleeping. So when you're smoking, you're already tapping into your subconscious a little bit. So by the time you go to sleep, it's been shut off. That's the reason why you can't get any um like scary dreams or anything like that. But you need to face your subconscious to level up. It's honestly a requirement. You can't level up without tapping into your subconscious and tapping into um things that you're uncomfortable with. That's a part of the level up. Can you talk more about how learning the true nature of men can be depressing? I decided I wanted to say after being single for over a decade, but it's just been frustrating and I already gave up. I made a live stream I made a live stream a few weeks ago about that. I literally just made a live stream about that. So if you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. Um, but I swear to God, I made a live stream about that a few weeks ago where I literally was talking about how, decentering men, like it can be very depressing. This is the thing, okay? This is like the part that people don't want to talk about when it comes to like decentering men. It's lonely as hell. Okay, it's lonely as fucking hell. Like even at my pole studio, like the amount of women that are like married, they go to events with like their married couples together. Like, yeah, like it's very isolating, it's very lonely, it can be very, very depressing. Um, but I think the biggest thing is that I always just I always soothe myself by putting the reality of how my life would look like if I was actually dealing with a man. And then I snap out of my reality and realize, like, no, I'd rather have the life I have now than to have that. You should discuss more on religion. My parents beat me with that Bible, and marriage is so much on a pedestal. It's horrible. I'm a first college graduate, and I get picked on in a sly way. I can revisit that. I did do a live stream where I talked about that as far as like religious men, but I could talk about it on like a grand scope about like, just with like family dynamics and relationship dynamics, gender dynamics, because For a lot of people, religion, especially families, okay, especially if you come from a religious families, they use religion as a way to be narcissists. Honestly, they use it as a way to be narcissists, and they also use it as a way to be abusive. Honestly, like that would be the main takeaway. How do you tap into your subconscious? I've always struggled with dreams. When I go to sleep, it's more like I black out. They say you dream every time you sleep, but it feels like you don't. The reason why is because you don't remember, you're not going to be able to remember your dreams unless you write it down right away. Like if you really really want to be serious about like your dreaming and like what's you looking at the symbolism behind your dreams, you literally have to have pen and paper on your nightstand, and the first thing that you do is write down and recall your dreams. There will be so many times where I'll wake up and I'll ask myself like, did I even have a dream? And it will be a blackout. It will be a blackout, but then I realized like, no, like I did have a dream. I actually did have a dream. It just wasn't a very vivid dream, but I did dream. But once you wake up, if you don't write it down, you're going to forget you had a dream altogether. And you can like what I like to do is I also like to make sure that like I will take ashwagandha before I go to sleep. And then I also like drink some tea that's got like lemon balm in it. And then also another thing that you can do is that like usually I like to think about a certain thing in particular before I go to sleep. Um and usually I can kind of tap into whatever it is I think about before I go to sleep and dream about it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, something relaxing before sleep and then a thought of like an intention that you have before you go to sleep usually can be very helpful in like your dreaming in like your subconscious like programming and being able to tap into that further. I'm 32. It can be lonely, however, you are free to do whatever you want. What is triggering your loneliness? I have realized that many of the people I wanted to be around suck. Girl, I hear you. I hear you. And not every time, because like I did actually go out with a girl from my pole studio, and she had her friends there, and we actually did have a very, very good time. I wasn't very optimistic at first, but the girl from my pole studio, like we're actually pretty like-minded. We're pretty like-minded in some in ways that I feel are of value. You know what I'm saying? Not over like superficial things, of things that I feel as though are important and are that of value to me. And but before that, I would kind of force myself in a way to hang out with people because it's just like that's what you're supposed to do. You know, you're supposed to hang out with people, and then I would quickly regret it. I'd be like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. So that's also another thing that kind of grounds me to realize that, like, no, really what you want, the thing that you think that you want, you're really not going to get it because most people have not ascended. Um, most people don't question anything. Most humans are not evolved. And when you're on a journey of evolving, it's hard to relate to other people, and naturally that journey will isolate you. It's just what comes along with it. Yes, always fun to find your tribe. I was like, yes, I was like, this is nice. Like I actually had a really really good time. I actually had a really good time. Off topic, but I can't believe you like Greek men. Our men are dusty, girl. I like how they look. I just like how they look. Don't get me wrong, Greeks are mama's boys. Greeks are typically mama's boys, and in Greek culture, they, from what I found, it's very male centered. Like I literally had a my clinical one of my clinical instructors, he was Greek. Can you tell me why he grew up in his sisters, his mother taught his sisters to make him a fucking breakfast menu. And he would get to pick and choose what he wanted for breakfast based off of their breakfast menu. I was like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. I just think Greek men are physically attractive, but I have to up my dosage for mugwort tea because I've only done about a teaspoon. How much are y'all using for this mugwort tea to be able to have like vivid dreams? Because I've used a teaspoon because I looked it up. I used a teaspoon and that wasn't enough. Yeah. Oh my God, I met a Greek man here in Florida. He was fine as hell, but a mama's boy. Yeah, they're mama's boys. I can't. They're very attractive, but their culture, I think their culture is like very, very male centered, like on a grand scale. I prefer to be alone. People become too possessive with me even when I set boundaries. I heard that, girl. Trust me, I've been there. Oh yeah, a woman should never go into the military. Women should never go into the military. Your likelihood of being essayed is astronomical. And then the thing about it is that if you're essayed, they're not going to do anything about it. And honestly, even if you try to tell someone, they'll try to take your life if you try to tell someone. The military is horrible for women. Horrible for women. There, as a matter of fact, there was it was a military intelligence whistleblower. I'm trying to find the piece of content so I can actually watch it because it looks like it's from a documentary or something like that. But the military intelligence whistleblower was exposing a lot of the things, and it was a clip of it on TikTok. I gotta find where it's from because I got so much beef with the military. I got so much beef with the military. Like, y'all don't ever date a man in the military. Don't ever. Don't ever. Okay. The military, the Navy, the Marines, never. Don't ever, 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 ever deal with any men that ever did that shit. Do not do it. They have higher, and also a police officer. Don't. The cases of DV and SA with men that do that job that are in that profession is through the roof. Through the fucking roof. And then not to mention that all that stuff is the boys club. So they are anti-women. They don't care about protecting women. They are not going to be of any aid to you. Don't deal with those type of men. A lot of those men, first of all, a psychological they anything army, navy, military, police force, it's all psychological warfare. Like it's all like it's all a form of psychological manipulation because you have to be manipulated to do that job. Like they're literally teaching you how to unalive people and protect yourself from being unalived. So you have to undergo some type of psychological warfare because that's really what it is to be able to do that job. When they come out, the military doesn't do anything to undo that shit. The military doesn't do anything and aid them in any way to get their thinking back to how it should be for them to be regular civilians. So, being in a relationship with someone whose mind has been, controlled and manipulated to think a certain way and see people as the enemy, on top of them already being men and being, they can be very dangerous, very predatory. It's a horrible combination. Don't do it. Exactly. Exactly. Train assassins. Oh my God, you went to war? Oh my gosh. Well, God bless you and thank you because oh my gosh, I could only imagine the PTSD and like the trauma and oh my gosh. I look at it like this. In my humble opinion, I don't think it's worth it for a woman to do that and undergo all the things that she has to do just for you to go to medical school or just for you to be a lawyer or whatever education you want. To me, that's not worth it because it's your mind. You know what I mean? The most powerful thing that you have as a person is your mind. That's the most powerful thing. And once someone gets a hold of that, once someone controls your brain and your mind and how you think, once somebody manipulates that, it can do a lot of irreparable harm. And to me, that's not worth the money. That's not worth the money that you can get for them to pay for your college education, because you also have to think, okay, now you're talking about having all of that manipulation in your brain being the way it is, and you have to go back to being a civil person while you're gaining an education. That's not easy. That is not easy. Yeah, I'm telling you, a lot of those people are crazy. A lot of those people are freaking crazy. I don't To me, it's not worth it. Because the thing about it is that you're not free, okay? The moment that you were born a slave, all right? Everything that you think you're getting in exchange for something else, you're selling something, all right? It's not just like you joining the army or the military for money. You're giving up something. You're giving up your mental sanity in order for you to be able to have your college education paid for. That's what they're not ever going to tell you, but that's what you're trading in. That's what they're getting from you and siphoning for you. Yes, exactly. Well, and you know that that's a pipeline, right? So there's the poverty to prison pipeline, and then there's the poverty to military pipeline. Most of the time when these recruiters go to school, they go recruit in schools that are in impoverished areas, because that's a pipeline. They know that these low income children don't have enough money to afford an education. Most people that enlist in the military come from poverty. So there is a pipeline with that. There 100% is a pipeline with that. So there was one guy that I know, that's what he did. He did 2 years and then just did National Guard. And then I know one guy that did active duty, and he's not terrible, but then again, I'm not around him enough to know. Yeah, the guy that I know that like had did the National Guard, I mean, I felt like his ass was crazy too, but he seemed, he's better off. He's definitely better off. Mhm. Yeah, recruiters are definitely sent to the hood. Yep, because they know that the people that are going to go to the military are impoverished people. My thing is this, y'all. School, I'm sorry, but there are ways to cut corners when you're in school. There are. If you're trying to go to school to become a medical doctor, go to your local college, okay? Go to your local college. Don't be going crazy trying to go out of state, trying to go to the most prestigious place, okay? Do not do it. Even I didn't do that, okay? My degree still says Indiana University on it, even though I didn't go to Indiana University in Bloomington. My tuition was $3,000 a semester, and I just danced to be able to pay that. So I paid for college out of pocket. If you are not trying to get any degree that isn't like an attorney or medicine, you literally can go to a community college, okay? Or you can go to a branch college of a prestigious college. A lot of these colleges have little mini campus colleges that you can go to. Your degree still says the name of that college, even if you didn't go to the main college. Okay. I just ended up staying home. I just ended up still living with my family while I was in college. So that kind of like offset me having to work or deal, with like rent or anything like that. But I'm telling you, don't be afraid to go to community college. Do not. If you go to a community college and you intern somewhere, you're good. I'm telling you, you're good. What are your thoughts on the Ashley Madison app? Is there like something new with the Ashley Madison app, or you're just asking this question just to ask it? Because a year ago, I watched the Ashley Madison documentary thing that they had on Netflix or whatever. I don't remember it all that much. Honestly, I don't remember it all that much. I would have to watch it again. All I remember was that shit was wild, and these men were getting exposed left and right cheating. Have you heard anything about your field being compromised by AI? The radiologist, yes. The radiologist, yeah. I've never used Ashley Madison. Girl, I'm anti-dating apps. Y'all got to get off them dating apps. Go out in the wild. Go out in the wild. I'm telling you, go out in the real world and meet people. Get off them dating apps. Go to a nice place. Go to a nice place. Elite programs aren't going to get you a job. I'm just telling you that. Elite programs aren't going to get you a job. Connections are going to be what's going to get you a job. You paying for an elite university, you paying for an elite program, it's not going to get you a job. I can guarantee you. You go to school and you do internships outside of school. You make connections. You make connections with people in order to be able to get a job. Yeah, get off them dating apps, y'all, please. My thing is this, like, there's no in life, I think everyone wants a guarantee. Okay, in life, everybody wants a guarantee. In life, there are no guarantees. Okay, there are no guarantees. The only guarantee that you will have, the only guarantee that you should be giving yourself in life is that you know how to pivot and you know how to adjust. I know how to adjust. Okay, I have 2 college degrees. I do content creating through my business. All right. I have brand deals. At the end of the day, I could snap my fingers and every job could be replaced by AI. Right? If that was really what they wanted, everything could be replaced by AI. There is no point in you trying to figure out what's going to get replaced, what's not going to get replaced. You have to learn how to make the best decision for you and to not make a decision in fear. Making a decision in fear will destroy you. It will destroy you. Go for what you want to go for and learn how to make it work. That's what education is all about. Education is about pivoting. Education is all about figuring out how you're going to make it work. Because that's the thing about college. College, you'll have to read, 6 chapters. 6 chapters. Each chapter is about 50 pages, and you got an exam to take the next morning. You're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to figure out how you're going to adjust. How are you about to read 250 pages, 300 pages of material and be prepared for your exam the next morning? And education is just not about getting an education, it's about adjusting. But the radiologists, they are using the radiologists to like prompt like AI. So they're teaching the AI how to like, I guess, read the images, and then the AI will dictate, and then the radiologist, it'll be like for a preliminary, and the radiologist will come in on the back end and just make sure that it's like foolproof. But that's going to take forever. Like, that's going to take forever. Like, I think people think that you're going to wake up tomorrow and AI is going to replace everything. It happens. It's not going to be until another 10 years until things really, really start getting spicy. It happens a lot slower than you think. But what I would recommend is for you to learn a skill in something that cannot be replaceable. You know what I mean? Something that will require for you to deal with people hands on. I get your education, but also learn a skill. You should never stop learning. Okay. Point blank, period. I taught myself how to edit. I taught myself how to build my social media. I've taught myself a lot of skills. You should always be teaching yourself something, even once you are educated. Always. The learning should never stop. Oh, nice. Well, good luck, Tiara. Yep, exactly. Yep, you have an education and daycare to fall back on. People for sure won't want robots looking after their babies. Exactly. There's so many skills out here that you can learn while you're in college that you can fall back on. Always have something to fall back on. Always. No need to, that's the thing. There's no need to have fear. Just put in the work to be prepared. That's it. That's it. That's all. As long as you prepare, you'll never have to worry about being replaced. You know, anything where it's going to deal with children, um, anything in fitness, like any type of certification, with fitness, that will do very well because you can't have no robot teaching you anything like that. Any type of service where you actually think and say, okay, you need a human experience to get the most bang for your buck. That's what you should get a skill in. What are they going to do when the majority of jobs are replaced with AI and robots can't find jobs? Oh, and people can't find jobs and buy things in a consumer based economy, shooting ourselves in the foot, girl. That's why you can't, honestly, it's survival of the fittest. And I was going to say universal basic income too. That's what I was going to say. UBI. They're just going to cut everybody a check. They're going to cut everybody a check, and boom, you do what you can with the check that they give you. Nice. I spent 1 year helping out a farm on the weekends. I can grow food, milk cows, and coats as well. That's what's up. Processing elk too. Nice. I plan to buy land by 2028. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and like learning how to grow food. Like I know how to grow food. I know how to can. Like start learning those like things. You can get like an in-home like planter. You can start planting things and growing things, and then you can learn how to can things. Yep, medical. I heard that. I heard that never going hungry. Never going hungry. Yes. I'm with you on that. That was one thing my grandma's like, you have to learn how to grow food. Cause my grandma, she's still growing food. The backyard at my grandma's house is stacked. I mean, in like watermelon, blueberry, strawberry, kale, collard greens, zucchini, cucumber. I mean, tomatoes, any and everything you could think of. She literally dedicated like pretty much like a large majority of her backyard just simply to grow food. What do you think about clubs? I go out with male friend because there's always creeps trying to take me home. Um, I mean, I'm not a big fan of clubs. Um, if the male friend that you're going out with seems to be trustworthy, then like go for it. But child, I don't go to the club. I'm 32. Okay. I'm a homebody and I'm boring. Like, I went to pole class Saturday, and like the women that were in their 40s were talking about how like they make sure like they have to be cautious about like going out and like not like they'll drink and like get messed up or whatever. And I'm like, my ass, I'm 32 and I'm in the bed by like 8:30. I ain't even thinking about going out. How to negotiate the terms of the relationship without telling them. How to negotiate the term. Just use the artist suggestion. Okay. Just say, whatever the terms of the relationship is, just say, I know you want to do XYZ for me. Just suggest it as if they're already doing it. And then if they come back to you with something that's like, I'm not doing that, well, then you know where it stands. Yeah, I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm not doing a wild night at a dance club. Mm-mm. Yes, you booked a pole dancing class. That's another thing, y'all. I'm getting fucking serious. I'm getting so serious with pole dancing. Honestly, at this point, pole dancing is pretty much replacing me lifting at the gym right now. Like this past week, I went 5 days. I went 5 days. I'm going to go to open pole tomorrow. It brings me so much joy polling again. Like, it's so healing. It is. It's so healing. It's like restoring my self confidence with my body. It's like restoring like more of like my sexuality and my sensuality. Like, I'm so happy to be polling again. And I'm going to try a new studio this week. So I'm going to go to a new studio this week because my instructor, she'll be gone. She's out of town. And I'm about to start paying for private lessons and everything because there is a showcase in October. I think I want to start like, I think I really, really want to get serious and I want to do the showcase in October. I haven't committed to it yet, but girl, the club ain't what it used to be. Okay, the club ain't what it used to be. Like, I miss the club days when we was dressing like secretaries, okay? I miss those club days. These days, y'all, I knew I was done with the club. Okay, listen to this, y'all. I went to the club. This was in 2024. Tell me why. So, like, we didn't have a section yet. We didn't have a section yet, and everybody was fucking sitting. There was someone that got up and it was an open seat. Why this man beat me, he rushed me so that he could fucking sit. I said, what the fuck? I said, did this man literally just rush me and try to race me to fucking take a seat? I said, oh no. Oh no. These men are too sassy. These men are way too sassy. You gonna race me to fucking sit at a club? And so my homegirl was like, fuck this. So my girl bought a section. She did. My homegirl ended up buying a section. So we just chilled in the section. It was a cheap section too. It wasn't nothing crazy. It was a cheap little section, but she said, oh fuck this. She said, I'll just buy us a section. She was like, we gotta fight with men now to have a fucking seat. Okay. They put sections on Afterpay? I didn't even know that. Pencil skirts and fake prescriptions. Yeah, girl, get your pole on. I don't even think go-go dancers I don't even think they're a thing. I used to want to be a go-go dancer. I used to want to be one. But by the time I was old enough to become a go-go dancer, I'm like, the club had kind of phased out. So I said, well, fine, I'll just go be a stripper. I said, the strip club ain't ever going out of style. She said, I got myself into a situation with a girl having to negotiate my standards. I'm done. It's exhausting. Some of the ladies, including myself, be unhealed, but I'm working on it, choosing to be single. Well, good for you for being self aware, for being self aware enough. Yeah, better to be single than to be negotiating your standards, okay? Because the thing about negotiating your standards aren't going to go away. You're not going to wake up one day and get rid of the standard that you negotiated on. So whatever the standard is that you negotiated on and that person is lacking in, it's going to constantly be in the back of your head that is something that you want them to do that they're not doing. And all that does is build resentment and cause frustration. Then you start projecting onto the person. It's too much. Nice girl. Listen, bottle girls make a lot of money. Okay. Bottle girls actually have the potential to make a lot of money. I was like, what the freak? I was like, I could not believe that that man was rushing me for a fucking seat. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, hell no. Um, because that's not the first time that she's paid for a section. Like, actually, she's paid for us to sit in sections quite a few times. Honestly, I only think the section was maybe like some few $100s. Honestly, I know it wasn't no $1,000 or nothing like that, but I think it was like a couple $100s. Oh, nice. A hip hop dancer. I love that. Girl, it was so much drama too. It was so much drama after that night that we left the club. Her friend, she had her friend and another girl come out with us to the club, and I wasn't friends with many of them. And then one of the girls that she had at the club with us, her boyfriend was supposed to be at home that night. Well, she ran into her boyfriend at the club. Her man said he was going to be at home. She ran into her boyfriend at the club, y'all. And then when my friend had seen her boyfriend, they had already met before. So I guess she gave him a hug. And then next thing you know, her and the girl was having beef because the other girl was like, you're trying to push up on my man. And the hug was a little bit too friendly. And so she ended up cutting the girl that I was friends with off. I was like, damn. I was like, what a start to the new year. Cause it was going into 20, was it going into 2025 or 2024? No, I think it was 2023 going into 2024. My sense of time is so messed up, but she says, I still want to work as a stripper. Girl, go in for one night. I can't tell you how many girls, when I was dancing, so many girls would do that. They'd be like, I just wanted to try it for one night and just see what it was. I'm like, more power to you, girl. There are a lot of women that I know that they just came just to try it, just to see. Yup, that man rushed me for the chair. He said, I'm the baddie bitch. He said, he said, I'm in my flat foot shoes. I deserve a chair. I deserve to be sitting. I said, okay, boo. I said, okay, boo, do you? Have the chair. Shit. Right. I was like, oh my God. She said, I'd rather deep throw habanero peppers than go to the damn club. I'm with you, girl. I am not trying to go to no club. The only way to bait me out the house is to feed me. And it needs to be at a high end restaurant, too. That's the only way I'm coming out the house. Is food there? If food is not there, I'm not going. I'm not going. Remember when Destiny's Child said in that song, the club is full of ballers and they pockets full grown? Child, these niggas ain't even planted a seed. These niggas ain't even planted a seed. These pockets are not full grown. Seed ain't even been planted in these men's fucking pockets. These men are fucking broke and stingy. Dang. Oh my God. You were a bottle girl at a famous strip club in New York and you made $100. Girl, you made it in 5 minutes, but after that night I never went back. I just felt nervous. I get it, girl. I danced for 4 years. I danced for 4 years in the club. I danced for 4 years in the club, but I was in college while I danced. See, listen, I already knew I wanted a college education. Okay. I already knew because I'm third generation of college degrees. My mother's an Indiana University grad. My grandma's an Indiana University grad, and I'm an Indiana University grad. So going to college, that was for sure happening. They wasn't going to take out any loans for me. Okay. They weren't going to co-sign any loans for me. And so I said, well, I'll just go to the strip club then and just pay out of pocket. And so I did. I did. I just went to the strip club, stayed home, and paid for my college. And it was perfectly fine. Had no issues. I got tired of it near the end and I said, I'll just get a sugar daddy. And that was even worse. That was even worse. The sugar daddy rant. I was so tired of men at that point and so exhausted between the club and the strip club. I've talked about the story on here. I was so annoyed with my sugar daddy. I started working at Panera. Imagine a sugar daddy driving you to work a minimum wage fucking job. I said, I can't keep doing this shit. I said, you men are draining. I said, you men are fucking draining. So then I worked at Panera Bread for a little bit, and then my like main customer at this old club that I was working at, I was like, "Listen, I'm in a pinch." I was like, "If I come back to the club, can I have you come back on the days that I'm working, and then like I spend the whole night like with you or whatever?" He was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And so he would come. I would work 3 days a week. He come 3 days a week, and he spent anywhere between like $200 to $500 on me a night. And so that got me through school. And then one of my exes, I was like, I had broke up with him and he gave me $3,000 for my tuition. I was the one that broke up with him and I hadn't talked to him and I just hit him up and I was like, listen, I was like, I'm on my last semester of college. I'm short on money and I really need you to help me. And he ended up giving me $3,000 to pay for my last semester of college. I'm telling you, man, that last year of college, I was making so many phone calls and asking so many men for money because I just was exhausted. By that fourth year, I was so tired. And then not to mention those women, it was terrible. Those girls in the club, they were pricing their pussy so low. They were pricing the punani so low. I was like, this is terrible. I can't compete with this. I'm over here trying to sell dances. And these girls are over here trying to sell their body for like super, super cheap. That in comparison, the dance is worth no money now. I said, forget it. And then the sugar daddy was starting to get whiny and possessive. And then he was trying to get cheap. I said, fuck it. I'll just go work at Panera Bread and I don't have to listen to you anymore. I'm telling you that, listen, people think having a sugar daddy is all sprinkles and rainbows. Hell no, it's not. Very rarely. It's too much energy. I don't have time. I don't have time. I've lived enough life dealing with men and having them drain my energy. I don't want to do it anymore. I heard of a sugar daddy paying someone's rent and calling his bank claiming fraud. So the girl ended up owing double for rent and paid to avoid eviction. Mm-mm. She said former S worker here, $1 bill still. Oh my God. Aw, thank you. I just can't. It was too much. I read on Facebook today that men aren't buying ladies drinks anymore, but want to chat all night. Y'all, I saw a video on TikTok yesterday. A man made a video on TikTok and he said a guy came up to him at the club and asked him to buy him a drink. He said, I'm not buying you no goddamn drink. Right, Davina. She said that's why sugar daddies need to be blind, deaf, wealthy, and over 75. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. They need to be mute too. I don't want to hear them talk. I don't even, because, usually deaf people, they usually can't like speak that well. I don't want to even hear them trying to enunciate anything, talk or articulate anything. Just, I know that's too young. That's too young. Right. 4152, that's way too young. Mm-mm. No. And the thing at Kevin Samuels done pumped these old heads up so high now. Okay, even these 60-year-olds is finding all that they digging deep in their pockets and they still finding the audacity. Okay, they digging so deep in their pockets and they still finding some audacity. A man on the brink of death is going to be the most humble. He got to be about 70, 75. He got to be on the brink of death. Because I work in healthcare. Okay, I work in healthcare. And it's getting to the point where I'm like, these men, I look at 75 years old and I'm like, dude, 75 is not fucking old. 75 is not old. When women are saying, oh, I have a 41-year-old, a 50-year-old, I'm like, you got a spring chicken. You got a spring chicken. That's not old. That's not old. You might as well. I'm telling you, unless the man is like 75, you pretty much got a 25-year-old in every man until he turns 75 years old. Honestly, every man under 75 is 25 years old in spirit. That's how I've always looked at men, honestly. That's how I've always looked at them. 75 and under is considered 25 years old to me because that's the age they think that they are and that's the age they fucking act. I look at it like this. Honestly, I wouldn't even if I really had to be picky, I wouldn't even want a woman under 30 to have a sugar daddy. And that's just from my own experience. Like I would much rather tell a young girl to be a bottle girl, be a waitress at like a nice like high-end restaurant than to get a sugar daddy. Because the thing about it is that most men are average. So it's always going to be easy for a young girl to get a sugar daddy because it's like she just left the fucking house. Like she's going to be impressed with a man having his own place, even if he's sharing it with three fucking roommates and he's 40 years old. You know, I always want young women to learn how to use their beauty and use their beauty as currency to be able to make them money, because no, like I don't want a girl to get a sugar daddy that's 20, you know, 20 years old and she's getting impressed by some man that has his own place and he's got roommates, all because she's excited over the fact that she gets to not have her parents around, because I'm sorry, when you're 18, that's what you're looking forward to. You're just looking forward to not being around your parents. So, you don't even realize that that's like very like below bare minimum. Like you're 40 years old and you live with fucking roommates. Like when you're 18, you don't realize that that's dusty behavior. You know what I mean? That's dusty behavior. Ah, thank you. So, YouTube already makes you like they have an option, a selection for you to make before you post the content where it's kind of like a attestation to say that whether you are or are not using like AI generated or using something, that isn't like your voice. I wouldn't say that do you think being seen on YouTube helped you blow up? Um, yes, I do. I think it helped. The thing about it is this: if you're somewhat attractive looking and you have a personality and you know how to play up your strengths and hide your weaknesses, you're going to do well content creating. Okay? You are. You're going to do pretty well content creating. Yeah, the young girls don't need to be worrying about no sugar daddy. Just learn how to use your beauty and utilize your beauty in order to make you money. That will span much further monetarily, business wise, education wise. That will stretch much further than getting some average man to be your sugar daddy, okay? Because trust me, from experience, these men really don't got it like that. One minute they got it, and then the next minute they don't. Honestly, it's not consistent. It's not consistent. That was the one thing that would kind of frustrate me with sugar daddies. Um, that would be the one thing that would annoy me with sugar daddies. No, I want the same fucking money every time that I see you. I don't want 1,000 one day and then 500 one day and then 800 and 300. Well, I'm giving you money. No, I want the same thing every day. That's the thing with the sugar daddies. I feel like some of them purposely, unless you could get one where the shit's deposited to your bank and it's the same deposit amount every time. I don't have time for that. I ain't got time for that. I don't have it this week. I only could give you 400 this week. Oh, I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. I would always tell them, like, it's like you're giving me $0. That's what I would always tell them. I said, you're only giving me 400. I said, you might as well be giving me $0. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? A sugar daddy isn't supposed to run out of money or complain. Exactly. A man on his way out. A man on his way out who likes you doesn't care about giving you thousands and thousands of dollars or purchasing big ticket items. Exactly. He finna die. He's on his deathbed. He don't even care. And to be quite honest, once men get real, real old, they really start to see the cracks in the foundation that they have built throughout their whole life. So a lot of them realize that their children don't fuck with them. You know, the ex-wives don't fuck with them. A lot of women don't fuck with them. They start is everything comes to the surface when they're getting closer to death. And they realize they don't even have anyone in their corner that they would deem as worthy to give anything to. And so honestly, if you're there at the right time with the man and the man really doesn't have anybody else in his corner while he's on his way out, he will give you everything. I'm telling you, he will. He will give you everything because they realize they don't have anyone around them that likes them. I'm telling you. Oh, thank you. Right. I'm like, what am I gonna do with $400? Like, and mind you, this was back in I danced 9 years ago. Okay. I danced 9 years ago. I'm like, this is $400. And granted, it would have been worth something a little bit more then. I was like, no, because my thing of it was this. I was able to make a decent amount of money in the club. So that's what I would always tell like my sugar daddies. I'm like, listen, the minimum amount that you're paying me is what I would be getting paid a night at the club. That's the only way it makes sense. Belle, I was wondering where you were, girl, because I saw you in here earlier and I was like, where the fuck did she go? Glad you're back. But I'd be like, no, you need to pay me the amount that you would pay me in the club. And ladies, that's what you need to start telling men. If men are out here not paying and they want you to sacrifice your time to deal with them, you need to tell them, for an 8-hour shift, I make X amount in an 8-hour shift. If that's how much you're not going to spend on me for me to be able to see you, I'm not doing it. Okay. Because dealing with a man is working a shift. Okay. I'm sorry. That's how I would always view it. I'm like, no, this is working a shift. You're going to have to pay me what I would be making at work because it feels the same exact way. Long, boring, and monotonous. Why would I do it for free? I'm dealing with this now. He's lonely and wealthy and is begging me to visit. I'll let him simmer some more and then I'm coming through with the paperwork. I want my land. Oh my God, you were so funny. Exactly. Women need to use every advantage possible while still centering themselves in their own happiness. Exactly. You should be the center. You should be the center of your own world, of your own universe, and you should be the one giving yourself everything that you want. Because guess what? When you give yourself everything that you want, you're teaching everybody else how to treat you. You're teaching everybody else how to treat you. And not only giving yourself the things that you want, but also learning how to not tolerate things that don't serve you, because you also don't want people to come to you with a ton of BS and a ton of drama or jealousy or envy or anything like that. No, they have to see that you are no nonsense and you have zero tolerance for things like that. And you'd actually be shocked. I'm telling you, you'd be very shocked at how respectable people will see you when they see that you are no nonsense and you actually have a low tolerance for things. Believe it or not, I get that compliment a lot. I get that compliment a lot at work. I'll actually get it from patients. A lot of patients will be like, I love how no nonsense you are. And just like how like you have a low tolerance, because you don't have to be a bitch in be no nonsense. You don't have to be a bitch. You just have to be assertive. That's it. You can smile and be assertive at the same time. You can be warm and be no nonsense at the same time. You just have to know how to get that little sweet spot, that nice little balance. But you don't got to be a bitch and just be mean and cold and heartless to get your point across. None of that is necessary. Exactly. Yep, women think nice is the answer, but no, nonsense is the way to go. Yes, because see, niceness is just pleasantries, okay? That's annoying, okay? I'm sorry. Pleasantries are stupid, okay? There's no need for you to have pleasantries. A lot of women try to have pleasantries with one another to keep the peace and stuff like that. None of that is necessary. Okay. Let's just get to the point in whatever goal or whatever thing we have in common that like needs to get achieved or whatever. Okay, let's just keep it at that and keep it moving. There's no need for all of the niceness and for all of that stuff. It's stupid. It's stupid and it's very performative. And I don't trust people. Exactly. I don't trust people that are always nice. I don't trust people that I don't trust people that just don't want to shake up the room a little bit. You know what I mean? And like actually be authentic. Like no. To me that means you're hiding something or you're trying to take something. I don't trust it. Yeah, she said I have a sugar daddy and still clock in. Yeah, that's how you do it. Me personally, I I can't have someone giving me money and I'm not making money on my own. Okay? I can't. Mm-mm. I can't. I learned that the hard way from having one sugar daddy, and I was like, "Oh no!" As soon as he was making excuses, and I'm like, "All right, back to the strip club I go. Then back to the strip club I go." But you said you weren't going to go to the strip club if I was giving you money. Exactly. And now you're not giving me money, so it's back to the strip club. Like, what the fuck? You thought I was going to change my mind? Hell no. You think I'm just gonna deal with this for free or for a low rate? No, I'll go back to the club. I know I can get money at the club. I know I could do that. Exactly. Many times it's easier to just go get an extra job than to get a sugar daddy. In my experience, sugar daddies are only super worth it once both of us are pretty old. I'm 43. Exactly. And here in Florida, it really, the proof is in the pudding. These men that have a lot of money and they're spending it on women, they're spending it on women their age. They're spending it on women their age. I'm telling you. In the nice areas, I don't see any large age gaps because, like I said before, this is why I said I don't feel like women 30 and under should even be looking for that. You shouldn't even be looking for that. You should be using your beauty as currency and using that as a form to get you money while you're getting an education. The men that have money, they're usually going to spend it when they get older. They're usually going to spend it on someone around the same age as them. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. They're really not about to go crazy spending all that money on someone young, because older men understand and know a young 22-year-old, she's not going to know what to do with that money. She's not going to know what to do with that money at all. They'll give a 40, they will happily give a 75-year-old will happily give a woman 40, because that's the thing about it. Men will sit here and say, oh, once your 30-year expired, a 40-year-old woman can happily be with a 70-year-old man and he would give her money. 50-year-old woman can be with a 70-year-old man and he will happily give her money. A lot of my patients, that's what not a lot of my patients, but there are a few of my patients, them women that are getting taken care of, they're older. They're older women getting taken care of by older men. I see it all the time. If you're a young girl and you're trying to look for a provider, honestly, it's just going to be below bare minimum. And to be honest, what you're going to find out later in life, they weren't giving you anything that you couldn't afford on your own. Honestly, they weren't giving you anything. Hindsight is 2020. That was one of my biggest realizations when I got older. I was like looking back when I had a sugar daddy and had a provider, I'm like, they weren't providing me shit. It seemed so big and so grand back then because, like I said before, when you're 18, 19, 20, you're just happy to get freedom because you are under the thumb of your parents. So you don't really have a good understanding. Like, you're impressed by a guy that, has a car or has his own place, even if it's with roommates, or, is just working like a regular job. When you're young, you're impressed by stuff like that. But that is a very easy and attainable thing for you to get as a young woman. So it's not necessary. I'm telling you, it's not necessary for you to do all of that. Exactly. Keep your body and your looks together and just get smarter. Get an education. Always learn a skill. And just, the money will just flow to you. I'm telling you, the money will flow to you. Yep, and that's another thing too. A lot of men that actually do have a large amount of money, they don't want to give you money just because you're pretty. Okay? They don't want to give you money just because you're young. A lot of the time, men that are very wealthy, that have money to give, they want to give you money as an investment. Okay? They want to know that you have a plan in your life. They want to know that you're continuing your education. They want to know that you're building a business. They want to know that there is something in long term, that the money that they're giving you is going to generate more money. That's what wealthy men do. Wealthy men want to invest into something. Queen, I'm so glad because these are the uncomfortable conversations men make women think being young is what makes you appealing, but poor men who have nothing to offer go after young women. Exactly. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I don't play that whole game of like, oh, like your youth is everything. Listen, I'm telling you, it's the older women that are getting the money, that are actually getting the real money, the big money, and they're investing it into things because men that actually have wealth and money, they want the money to go to an investment. They don't want to give you money and it be spent on bags and purses and shit. No, that's just celebrity stuff. That's just what celebrities do. Real wealthy men, they want to see that you are actually working towards something. They want to see that you have a plan. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. You either need to still clock in or you need to have multiple sugar daddies or you will not have freedom. Exactly. Mhm. Yeah, the men the thing about it is that like I said before, when you're young, have your fun and keep your head down and just stay focused on the goal, okay? Be safe, be safe, and have fun with men, just date for fun, but don't take them seriously, and you know don't have your hand out. Shira talks about not clocking in. I don't believe that. I will go to work. Yeah, listen, from experience, I'm never going to tell the girls over here to not clock in. 'But the thing about it is that Shira stayed clocking in. Shira stayed clocking in low key because she was on YouTube. I don't know how long it took her to get monetized on YouTube, but technically, Shira was still clocking in because she making money off YouTube. She had the Etsy elixirs pretty early on. Shira was making money. Shira was just clocking in for herself. That's the only difference. Shira is very business minded. So Shira is more so saying that she prefers for you to work for yourself than to work for somebody else. Exactly. She still works. She just working online. You know what I'm saying? Either way, as long as you are making some money, all right, as long as you got a source of money coming in, that's the most important thing because you don't ever want to be asked out. You always want to make sure that if a man is giving you money, you're using his money to make you money. However, you do that is up to you, whether you want to be a sugar baby or you want to work in a club or you want to be a bottle girl or whatever it is that you want to do. As long as their money is funding something else long term for you to be able to have in the future, that's the most important thing. Don't get lazy. All right. Don't kick your feet up and be like, I got a provider. I don't have to do anything. No. I mean, Shira, because at some point, Shira and James were separated. If Shira didn't have no money, she wouldn't have been able to afford to get her own apartment. But they did separate, and she was able to get her own apartment while they were separated. Exactly. And that's why I'm saying, that's why I said for most girls who are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, like I said before, they're just happy to meet a guy that has his own place, even if it's shared with roommates. Most women are not thinking, they're not separated now. Okay. They're not separated now. This was back in the day. I don't know what the fuck's going on with them now, but she made a video about how at one point they were separated. They were separated and she had got her own apartment. It's like an old video, but don't be saying that I said she separated, y'all. Please don't. I didn't say she separated now. But she had made a video saying that at one point they had separated. Yeah, exactly. It's rare. It's very, very rare. But most women that are that young, their brain isn't even fully developed for them to think like, oh, I should ask for a house or oh, I should ask for a car. Most of them aren't thinking like that. That's why it's very easy for them to be impressed. Men don't have to, you know. Yeah, that's why I said most of these sugar daddies, they're cheap. Most men are average, okay? Most men only make $65,000 annually, okay? They're not providing this life-changing lifestyle to, give you all of those things. You know what I mean? And here's the thing, if you want a home at 20, okay, what you should do instead of asking for a home, because you also have to think, okay, if you are 20, you're probably not all that fully established financially, right? Because I highly doubt that the man is going to have enough money to pay for a $400,000 house right out the gate, right? Which means, okay, whose name is going to be on the mortgage? Who will be able to keep up with the payments and stuff like that? You also have to consider these things if you actually do get these things when you're older, which is why I would say, which is why I would say, instead of you asking for someone to pay you a home, you really should ask if like, oh, is there like money that you can put in for me to have like an investment property? This is usually like women that I know, this is usually what a lot of women that I know do. They will want to invest in a property together and then take some of the money from the investment property instead of just giving you the home and then having to do everything else with it. But only when you're that young and only if you don't have like a reliable source of income, because if the name is on the mortgage and let's just say something happens and he doesn't want to pay it anymore, well, you're now going to be responsible. You know what I mean? So just a thought. Just a thought. Yep, you use your VA loan. That's probably the best thing to do with your VA loan. That's why I said it's really good for you to think of a plan. They can invest in your education. If you're in college, have them pay for your tuition. You know what I mean? If you're in school for some certification, have them pay the money for your certification. You know what I mean? When you have like a plan with something that you really want to do, a man that really likes you, he will want to help aid you in that process to accomplish the thing that you really want to accomplish. My main sugar daddy helps me invest and he pulls back when he realizes he's just helping me leave him. Of course, the sugar daddies always have the come to Jesus moments. They're like, is this girl using me? I feel like she's using me. I'm not gonna pay her this week. They always do that. Like you'll always know when a man is starting to question the sugar daddy start questioning if they're being used or not when like they want to give you less money or they skip a payment or whatever. That's how you know when they're like, oh, he's got that thought in his brain again that I'm using you. Like, what's wrong with you? You know I'm not using you. You know you're my favorite. What's wrong with you? You just be lying. If the money was gone tomorrow, would you still be here? The money's never gonna be gone because you're so smart. I know you would never let that happen, you crazy man. You gotta stroke their ego while you snap them back to reality. Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah, sue that ego. Don't be saying, "No, I'm gonna leave when you have no money." Say, "Baby, you're too smart to lose all your money." Come on, what are we talking about? You gotta be like, "Okay, okay, you're right." Yep, exactly. You just have to compliment them and snap them out of snap them out of the delusion that they're in by just stroking their ego. When in doubt, just stroke their ego. Okay, when they get to these allegations saying that you're using me, you're cheating on me, they start making all these crazy allegations. Just pump up their ego and they'll shut up. How to stay safe working as a dancer at a club. I want to try, but I'm scared it's a dangerous environment for women. A club will be one of the safest places that you work at. Honestly, I would feel safer working at a club than getting on a dating app and meeting a stranger. Now, I've worked at gentlemen's clubs, okay? Don't be working at them. I'm sorry, them in the hood, I'm sorry, them strokers, them KODs. I'm sorry. That's another thing too. If you're gonna dance, you gotta figure out what clientele you're gonna cater to. Are you black? Are you thick? Are you white? Are you Latina? You gotta figure out what demographic you're gonna cater to. I don't work at those. I'ma just be crass. I don't work at them Negro booty shaking clubs. Okay. My very first club was a Negro booty shaking club. And I told the bouncer because it was like a conglomerate of other clubs. Like, how Darden restaurants is over like Red Lobster, Olive Garden, stuff like that. He had like a conglomerate of clubs. And so the first club that I worked at was like a booty shaking club. And I told the bouncer, I said, "Get me the fuck out of here. Okay. It's too ratchet. It's too ghetto. I don't fit in here. I don't fit in here. I need to leave this club." He said, "Okay." And so he had asked the guy at the other club because the thing about it too is that like they need like a quota, okay? They need like a race quota or like a size quota. So like mostly they're going to have mostly white women and then like some Latino women and then like a sprinkle of like black women, okay? So I fared out way better at that club than the booty shaking club. They take it seriously at Gentlemen's Club. Like your security, girl, they had cameras back there. If girls were getting it on in the back, the boss would find them. They couldn't even get it on in the back there. They couldn't get their freak on back there because they had cameras back there, and the boss would find them. He would let them get their freak on back there, and then they come back out from getting their freak on, and he'd be like, "I saw you on the camera. I'm gonna fine you $500." Ew, that's disgusting. Yeah, them ghetto clubs are not it. Don't go to a gentleman's club. The gentlemen's clubs are very safe. I'm telling you, they're very, very safe. Like I said before, it's safer. I'm sorry. I would tell any woman it's safer for you to work at a gentleman's club than to fucking go out and meet a stranger from a dating app. I'm sorry. Okay, because the restaurant ain't got security. Okay, the restaurant ain't got the metal detectors. Okay, no, if you're that's why I said like even fishing for a provider, I'm not fishing for no damn provider. If you'll find the most providers at the strip club, I'm telling you, you'll find the most providers at the gentlemen's club. If you want to get a provider fast, go to the club. Go be a waitress. Go be a bottle girl. You ain't actually got to take your clothes off if you don't want to. I'm telling you, you're going to find the most providers at a gentleman's club. Point blank, period. You're shooting in the dark going to these restaurants. You're shooting in the dark, going to these lounges and then places. I don't have time to waste my makeup and my hair and cross my fingers and say a prayer, hoping that it's the right guy with the right amount of money I don't have time for that. I'm too impatient. Go to the club and there's plenty of them there. You need to go. It's like going, how I explain this. It's like if you are going to go get a car. Okay, if you want to go buy a car, are you just going to sit on the side of the road and wait for a car to approach you and be like, hey, I'm selling a car. Do you want this car? Or are you going to go to the car dealership where the cars are already there? You're going to go to where the cars are already at. Go where the men are at that are already spending money on women. You know what I'm saying? They're already spending money on women. That's where you should be. Be in the vicinity where people are doing the thing that you want them to do for you. She said, and wow, the granddaddies were out. How do we get into gentlemen's clubs as a thicker black girl? I thought they only like skinny women. Just try. You can see based off of where the location is. Like, honestly, you can see based off where the location is and look up what the demographic percentage is. But honestly, just go to all the clubs. Go to all the gentlemen's clubs and then just audition. And honestly, they're gonna be honest with you. Okay. I've always been a little bit on the like chunkier side, okay, because I've always had a little bit of a belly on me. One of the clubs that I wanted to work at, they straight up told me, they were like, you need to lose some weight. And so guess what? I didn't work there. I just worked at another club and I did lose weight while I was dancing because you're gonna lose weight while you're dancing, honestly. You're definitely going to lose weight while you're dancing, but then also it's also highly dependent on where you live. It is highly dependent on where you live. If you live in an area where overall the women are like a little bit thicker, like for instance, like Nova Nobu is on TikTok. She's a thick Latina girl. She works at Strokers, okay? She works at Strokers. So the thing about it is that just try all of the places. But naturally you're going to lose weight when you're dancing anyway. I lost weight while I was dancing. But yeah, one of the clubs that I wanted to work at, he was like, you need to lose a little bit of weight. Is what it is. And so then I went to another because I was already working at a club. And I was like, I want to try another club. So went to one club. They said I needed to lose like a little bit of weight. I don't know if I ended up losing a little bit of weight and then going to another club, or if I just stayed the same and then ended up switching clubs. I don't think so. I think I ended up losing a little bit of weight and then I worked at a different club. 5'7", 180, you actually don't sound like you actually don't like 5'7", 180. Like, I don't even think that doesn't sound overweight to me. But yeah, losing another 20 guaranteed. Guaranteed you'll be good. 5'7", 160, that's perfect. I went to a club in Vegas years ago to interview as a waitress, and they wanted me to audition to dance full nude. I declined that because I don't want to dance. Yeah, and any man that's asking you to dance full nude for a waitress position, first of all, they should never be asking you to dance full nude for audition ever. They never should be asking you to dance full nude for a fucking audition. They just wanted some free looks, which is a blessing in disguise because you don't want to work for a place like that. That means that the men that work there are weird and creepy. Yep, day shift in the nice area is the best. Exactly. Yeah, weight makes a big difference. I know women are very sensitive when it comes to weight. I know women are very sensitive when it comes to weight, but listen, you can't pick and choose what you're going to tell someone that they need to pay money for, right? You can't. You cannot tell somebody what they're supposed to pay money for. And at the end of the day, men get to choose what they're going to spend money on and what they're not going to spend money on. And I'm not saying that if you're a bigger girl, you can't make money. Okay. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that the harsh reality of the fact is that the men want to open up their pockets to women who are a little bit on the slimmer side. You don't have to be skinny, skinny, because the thing about it is this: What a lot of women don't realize, is that because think of it this way. Okay, so you're not so hard on yourself. Because thick is kind of considered as average nowadays, like the medium size is already a thicker girl. You really don't have to be that tiny to look like you're slim. Okay? Because slim today is not what slim was back in the 2000s. Right? Like back in the 2000s, when you look back at how those women looked, those women were fucking anorexic. Like those women were scary small. So that's the good thing about it. Because everyone's so used to looking at thicker, more full figured women, you don't have to be crazy, crazy small to actually look like you're skinny. So always keep that in mind. Exactly. The thing about it was that I was a chunkier girl. I was a chunkier girl, and I still made money. I still made money as a little chunk, but it's because I knew how to talk to the customers. Mhm. I don't either. Cuz yeah, I was considered thicker back when I was dancing, but I just overcame it. I overcame it, but I also lost weight while I was dancing. I ended up doing if it could fit your macros, and I'm not gonna lie, I did end up earning more money when I was smaller. I did. I ended up earning more money when I was smaller. Exactly. The thing about it is that as soon isn't 5'7", 160 considered thick? Y'all, here's the thing. My perception of weight is so different from people because I have a lot of muscle. Okay, I have a lot of muscle. I'm 5'1". Okay, at 5'1". Hold on, where's my phone? I'm 5'1". I really should only be like what, like 110 pounds to not be considered obese. Okay, this is how I look at 137 pounds. I was 132 pounds in this picture. I'm 5'1", 132 pounds in this picture. Look at look at how much of a difference muscle makes. 5'1", and I was I at 132 or one? No, I was 117. This was me at 117. I was 117 here. Yeah, I think I was about 117 here after they dried me out. I think here I was about 17. I think I was about 132. Hold on. Ooh, my tan was dark. My tan was super dark. 117. I was 127 here. Okay, focus. I was 127 here at 5'1". 127 at 5'1". The body composition, the recomp with muscle. If you're a gym girly, if you're a fucking gym girly, the weight is the weight is gonna look completely different. You know what I'm saying? So I was so lean, but I was so unhealthy. I didn't have a period for like 9 months. It was terrible. It was so bad, y'all. But I made a video about that with like my binge eating disorder and how I gained all that weight and looked like Miss Puffs. That's an old picture. I don't look like that anymore, but the pole dancing video is how I look now. The one that I posted a couple of days ago. But yeah, oh, I was just depressed. Queen, I honestly like you now. It was too masculine and you are correct about the body competition. Thank you. That's what this woman said at the gym. She was like, no, you look so, not at the gym, at pole dancing. She was like, you look so much better now. She was like, this looks healthy. She was like, the way that you're at, this looks healthy. I'm just trying to lose this last 15 pounds, but I'm losing it very slowly. Very, 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 very slowly. There's actually a content creator that I follow on TikTok. One Sexy BBW. She's always getting providers in New York City, and she's a full figure girl. She's always getting providers. She's very cute. She's very like she got a beautiful face, very cute. She's got a very nice, like mesmerizing voice. It really is more than just your weight. It really is. It's your smell, it's your hair, it's your teeth, it's your skin, it's your voice. It's a lot of things outside of your weight. Because I tell you, a lot of the girls who you would think would be like the most, like the best body or the prettiest, a lot of those girls didn't know how to make money. Yeah, and not to mention, like, I'm being a little bit more not strict, but I am like kind of tracking things a little bit more, like with my diet too, but I'm losing the weight very slowly. Like when I say I'm losing it slow, I'm talking about like a half a pound a week. I'm losing it very, very slow, because from bodybuilding, they want you to do fast, 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 fast. And all that does is fuck up your metabolism. Slow and steady, much easier for you to keep the weight off. Damn, you're 5'7" and 114 pounds. And see, to me, I would be invisible. I would be invisible at 114 pounds. I would be the size of a coat hanger at 5'1" and 114 pounds. Y'all saw how I looked at 117. Yeah, it's better to lose the weight slowly. Much better to lose the weight slowly, because you're more guaranteed to keep it off. I took advantage of my height and got thin. I wanted men with FU money. Yes. And for the tall girlies, like, I'm telling you, for the tall girlies, like a lot of wealthy men actually, they really do like taller women, honestly. They really like taller women. Exactly. You have to be patient. You have to be patient if you're gonna lose weight. If you lose it fast, you're gonna gain it back twice as fast with twice as much weight. Take your time. I tell myself all the time, girl, what you in a rush for? What you in a rush for? Learn to like your body and enjoy your body now. And like honestly, even like in my pole dancing journey, like the old me would be like, oh, I need to be a certain way, or I need to look a certain way before like I like buy like this like cute, sexy stuff to wear to pole class. And I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. I still buy like the cute like leotards and tops and bottoms and stuff like that. I still buy that stuff for my pole dancing class. That was like another thing that I had to teach myself, and like learn that like no, like you don't have to earn buying yourself something because you aren't at where you want to look physically. Like no, like you deserve to look nice in clothes. Like you deserve to look nice in clothes because you're alive. As long as you're alive, you're entitled to want to wear clothes that make you feel good, wear clothes that make you feel beautiful. You don't need to wait until you're a certain weight or a certain size to wear something that you want to wear. Because I used to struggle with that really bad, like really, really, really bad. Like, no, I'm not gonna buy this because it's not gonna look good. I mean, no. Mm-mm. Exactly. I was always the biggest girl in the club and was a top earner everywhere I worked. I was always the one in the long evening gown, classy and glamorous. Rich men gravitated toward me. The club that I worked at on the weekend at night, we would always wear a gown. Oh my God, I loved wearing the gown. It was black lights in there, and I had this beautiful, it was my favorite gown. It was a neon coral gown. I used to get so many compliments on it, and it had a slit in it, and the slit was like lined with like really pretty sequins. It was such a pretty gown, and the way that it was neon coral under the black light. So it was like glowing up against like my skin tone. Oh, I would make so much money in that evening gown. I would make so much money in that evening gown. Oh, those were the days. Those were the days. Yeah, lose the weight slow. Lose it slow. Aw, thank you. Yeah, back when I was doing bodybuilding, that was I don't know what dope I was smoking while I was doing bodybuilding. I think I was in a season of self-hatred. Honestly, looking back on being that lean and what I had to do to be that lean, oh, I was definitely in a season of self-hatred. I hated myself. Honestly, I hated myself. I had to have hated myself to do that shit. Honestly. Only a person that hates themselves would do that. I had to eat the same thing. I'd eat the same thing. In a whole year, I only had one cheat meal, and it was Five Guys. Ooh, Five Guys sounds so good. Five Guys sounds really good, actually. Um, I had one cheat meal for a whole entire year, and it was fucking Five Guys. No wonder why I gained like 70 pounds post show. My ass was miserable from all that restriction. Thank you. It's still a massive achievement, and I'm proud of you, Queen. So many people can't do it. Oh, well, thank you. Any advice on how to move on after a heartbreak? Level up. Level up, girl. Get your weight together, your beauty together, your money together. Start focusing on something else. Start focusing on something else that can improve your life. Right, Five Guys sounds good as hell. Like a burger. Burger sounds good. I could use some iron. I definitely could use some iron. But yeah, honestly, I don't think I will ever do bodybuilding again. Honestly, I don't. It's just, it was too bad on my mental for me to ever want to do it again. Mm-mm. She said I can't stand Five Guys. Yeah, men will always come back, always. And when you glow up, they're really one thing about men. Maybe I'll do a live stream on this week. Men will never close the door on having access to women. Never. Never, ever, ever, ever. The only way that the door can be closed is if you close the door as a woman. Men do not close the door when it comes to women. They're always going to make sure that they allow themselves to be accessible to you so long as you allow it. So long as you allow it. And they'll go, and here's the thing too, they'll go to great lengths. You might have blocked them on everything. They still got your mama's number. They gonna call your mama. How I just was calling you, Miss Davis. How you doing, Miss Davis? Oh, yeah, Miss Davis. I just wanted to see how you were doing. You know, how's Sandra doing? Is Sandra doing okay? Yeah, Sandra, she got her a new boyfriend. She do. Yeah, his name is Henry, and he's so sweet. Good for her. Next thing you know, he trying to become an investigator on social media. I need to look up her social media. I need to see this man that she's with. He started becoming a private investigator. Thank you. Yep, they gonna ask your family. They gonna ask your friends. I'll do a live stream on it. I'll do a live stream on it this week. Crazy ass men. Crazy ass men these guys are. Uh-uh-uh. I like Arby's and Wendy's. I not really a fan of Wendy's. Um Arby's, the only thing that I've ever liked was just the beef and cheddar and the fries. Oh, and actually, I remember when I was binge eating, I was tearing Arby's up. When I was binge eating, it was terrible. Bitch, then people at the fast food restaurants probably knew me by first and last name. They said, "Here come Miss Puffs." Boom, boom, boom. I wish I had the remember when Kevin Samuels used to make fun of women and call him Big Shirley, and he played that trumpet song. That was my theme song when I was going to them fast food restaurants when I was binge eating. Like, bitch, you couldn't keep me out of a McDonald's, a Arby's. Bitch, I was at McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and a snack. My ass was eating everything. Wait, what's the noise? That trumpet. The big Shirley trumpet sound was playing whenever I would go to them fast food restaurants. Cause see, Texas, that motherfucking state of Texas will have your back big. Okay, I was living in Texas when I was having my binge eating, bitch. Y'all, that motherfucking food in Texas had my back big. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Oh, you didn't write a message though. So if you wanted to write a message, you could just send a separate one without a super chat. What do you think about terror videos? Um, so like I do my own personal readings. I don't do readings for other people. I think tarot is something that like you should get into, but like I don't really trust. Honestly, like for me, I don't take it to heart. Whenever people do like tarot readings or like astrological readings and it's not like very specific, for me, it's just for shits and giggles. You know, I don't, I don't necessarily take it to heart. Who do you think has the best fries? That's a good question. I just love those Cajun fries from Five Guys. Honestly, I love the Cajun ones. Do you believe the male schmex drive is actually as high as they say? Not for women. For a man, yeah. Not for women. But before a man, hell yeah, their drive is super high. Imagine having your G spot be in your booty and you can sleep with someone that has the same amount of testosterone as you. Aw, thank you. Saw a girl say she moved from Miami to Houston because there's always somebody bigger than you that you don't have to try as hard. I'm telling you, Texas, y'all, it was terrible. All the food. I knew Texas was a big back state. Listen to this. I knew Texas was a big back state when they would have drive-throughs for sit-down restaurants, not fast food restaurants. No, no, no. Sit-down restaurants. They would have drive-throughs for sit-down restaurants. I said, this place is fat as hell. I said, this place is fat as hell. They want people's backs to be huge. When I moved to the West Coast, I went from a size 10 to 4. And now that I'm back in the South, you need 2-portion meals a day. You eat I'm telling you, when you are living in the South, you got to be on top of it. Before you blink, before you know your back can't even fit through a doorway. This conversation is making me want to go back and trip again for fun. I'm a way better pole dancer now too than I'm older and I've gone to classes. Lola, go, girl, go. The women in my classes are 40 fucking plus. Okay. And they give me a run for my money. These women look beautiful. Like they look so fucking good and they're so good on the pole. Like one thing about me, okay, I'm excited to age because like women in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, like they just have such good showmanship for how life is and like how good it looks and like how much sweeter it can get. Like I'm telling you ladies, please don't be out here fearing 30 years old and 35 and 40. I'm telling you, I'm around a ton of women who are older than me and in spaces where it's very empowering and freeing. I'm telling you, there's one woman I just found out that she's 41. I thought that woman was literally like 25 because number one, she dresses kind of like a young girl and her hair's that yellow, that like Lady Gaga yellow, like that highlighter yellow. She dyed her hair highlighter yellow and everything. Like that's the reason why I thought she was so young. And she literally looks super, super young. And she's like, girl, no. She's like, I'm 41. I'm like, what? And then I found out that another girl that I do pole with, she's like 47. And then the instructor, she's almost 40. Like the women make it look great. What's the first lesson they teach you at the pole dancing? I want to be upside down on the first day. Um, if you don't know how to climb, they usually teach like a hook spin. A hook spin is like usually pretty basic. You just hook your foot, like your knee around the pole and then like just spin. Front hook spin is like usually very popular. The studio that I'm at, they do a lot of moves with the jasmine. They do a lot of like we do a lot of like jasmine. We do a lot of like jasmine and Gemini moves, I feel like, at the studio that I'm at. I've always known how to invert, but I'm cleaning my invert up. Cuz I'll invert and I'll do my knee hook, and my knee hook is never clean. I always have to readjust my knee hook. So now I'm like practicing like getting a nicer knee hook and like getting it more stable. I've literally been working on that for the past like six weeks. And I'm gonna go to open pole tomorrow and like still keep like doing the conditioning. Bye, Belle. Enjoy your workout session. Enjoy your lift. I'm telling you, older women are winning. I literally told the girls at my pole dance class yesterday, I'm like, I can't. I tell them all the time. I said, I want to be y'all when I grow up. I want to be them when I'm grown up. Like they look so good. They look so happy. Like they look fucking amazing. These women, they look so good and they look so fulfilled and they look so happy. And a few of them are married and like the husbands do everything. Like there's one girl that I'm with. I don't know how long she's been married, but her husband like takes care of pretty much everything. And I could tell too, because I could tell when a woman's bullshitting or not if she's like with a man that's like providing and like giving her a soft life because she also has children. She also has children and they're gone. I think one of them just graduated from college with a degree in like chemistry or something. So, her daughter obviously is like very bright, but I could tell I'm like, yeah, she looks good. She had kids and she looks good. She looks youthful still. She doesn't look drained. She said I should get great at pole dancing so I can speed the process of acquiring my inheritance up. That'll do it. That'll do it. Have him buy you a pole and put it in his place. Girl, send him into cardiac arrest. She said they don't come back to me. I must have scared them away. They probably already know that they can't try you, honestly. 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 Because the thing about it too is that like If you're not a type of woman to like pump up a guy's ego, then they're never going to come back because they don't have any proof that coming back to you will be of any benefit. So if you're the type and you don't pump up their ego, it's not you, it's just they know that they can't get anything out of you. They can't get a compliment, they can't get an ego boost, they can't get anything out of you. So there would be no need for them to come back. Hello, hello. Goals. This makes me feel good. I will be 42 this year. Oh my God, 42. Nice. Nice. Yeah, the women that I poll with, my jaw dropped to the floor yesterday when like they started telling me how old they were. I was like, what? They look good. They do. They look good. And the thing about it too, I think that's also another reason why I like pole dancing because to like go to pole dancing, you kind of have to have a certain mindset already about like yourself as a woman, your sexuality, your liberation, your empowerment. You already have to kind of be in a certain headspace as a woman to even take a pole dancing class. And so, that's another reason why I feel as though like it's been very easy for me to meet like-minded women, and you could tell that those women, like, because a lot of those women too, they do healing things or they have a healing background. So a lot of them did yoga. Like there's a lot of yoga instructors at the pole studio, or they either teach pole. A lot of them come from a yoga background. There was one lady, she was a yoga instructor for a long time, and then she also, I can't remember exactly what type of dance she would do, but she said it was like an energy, like some type of like energy, like fire dancing or something. She said it was like real intense. And that's the type of people that I like. You know what I mean? How do you deal with the loneliness after realizing that love is not real? By having a goal that you're focused on, that you're fixated on, and constantly giving yourself something to work toward. Like it's very hard for me to really be lonely because there's always something that I'm working on, and I created something to look forward to. I love going to pole dancing. I love going to pole dancing classes. So like that's where I go to, meet new people, and get validation from like learning a new skill or improving a new skill. Everything that you thought that you were getting from like other people, you can literally give it to yourself. Go join something, go get community with other people, start a goal and like do everything you can to work on that goal. Loneliness can easily be eradicated through self-improvement. Okay, always remember that loneliness can be eradicated through self-improvement. When you start being fixated and focusing on your self-improvement, you no longer have loneliness because you realize that you are focused, you are laser focused. The more you're focused on one thing, you're able to achieve it quicker, right? When you shine a bright light and you shine it directly at what your target is, the light will shine that way. When you don't have it shine, when you're not shining it that way, you have more divergence. Everything is more scattered. You don't have a focal point on where your energy is going to. And when you're ascending, you realize that most people that you're going to try to use to break out of your loneliness, they're only going to veer you off your path anyway. Happy birthday, Tam. Nice. I have had a daily morning yoga practice for the last 3 years. Yeah, it's super healing. It's very, very good. Good for the mind, the soul, the mental. It's very good. Yeah, once you can generate your own good feelings and validation, you become dangerous to men. They can't manipulate you anymore. You're not seeking their validation. Exactly. Once you reach a state of self fulfillment, you'll be fine. Thank you. I love that. Flatline Fox. I love that. That's a good alias. That's a very good alias. Because there really is the pole move called the flat line. There really is that pole move called that. Yeah, you start to get and that's the thing too. When you're ascending and you're on the road to self improvement, you become very protective of your energy because you've cultivated a lot for yourself. And so once you've cultivated all of these things and you've worked so hard, you're not going to just let any old person come into your life and steal that away from you, or try to ruin that from you. You literally become more discerning and a lot more picky when you have done the work to improve yourself. You really do realize that, you know, your energy is currency. Your beauty isn't only currency, your energy is currency. And when you have proof in your own life that you can use your energy to generate great things in your life, you become really picky on where you're going to choose that energy to go. I swear to God, religious people get on my fucking nerves. Religious people get on my fucking nerves. They'll sit here and be speaking in tongues at the fucking church, and feigning and doing all this stuff, and the Holy Ghost. This is what I don't get. You're praising the Holy Ghost, and then you're calling everything demonic. You're calling everything witchcraft, but you're over here praising a ghost. That's witchcraft. You have that altar, but yet you went to an altar and got fucking married. So you can't have an altar. You can't have an altar of something that you worship, but you sure can go to an altar and get married. Okay, it's just it's just you just don't like a certain type of altar. Then okay, you're welcome. You're very welcome. My mom said a demon got on her while doing yoga stretches. I would have been like, "Mama, how did it look? And how did it get on top of you?" I grew up Catholic, but like they're like loose Catholics. You know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Very much open to other denominations and things like that. I'm hollering. She said a demon got on her while doing yoga stretches. I would have asked her, "How did it look? How did it look? Did you teach it the pose too?" I would have been asking her all types of I would have been asking her all types of questions. Ah, hollering, hollering. Right. Did she become extra flexible? I would have been like, "Girl, what pose were you in so I know not to do that pose? Was that child's pose? Was that downward dog? Was that warrior? What pose was you in?" Yoga open portal to demons. Oh my gosh. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Yeah, they've been commenting in like I think it's honestly bots because they'll be saying like amen, amen, amen. Like, oh my god, the bots are going crazy. The bots are going crazy. There are so many modifications of pagan practices in Christianity. People are truly ignorant. Yes, I agree. I agree. I had to delete one of them. I had to delete one of those religious. Like I said before, I honestly think it's bots because, like I said before, they'll do amen, 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 and then they'll talk about coming to Christ and doing all these things. Yeah, that's one thing about YouTube that gets on my nerves. They be having too many bots. They be having too many bots. I went back to look for the last live you did and couldn't find it. It's because I put it in the membership channel. And the reason being is because it was something political on there. And I didn't really want it to be an issue with the live stream. It was something political on there. That's the reason why I put it on the membership tier. I think I put it in tier 2. I don't want the YouTube people getting mad. So I just said, oh, I'll put it. Because the thing about the membership tier, because you're not putting it up for monetization or for ads, they care less. They don't really care a whole lot about what you like say or about what you do whenever you put it on the membership tier. And people said the live started acting weird after what I showed them with the like political thing or whatever. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, I probably done put something on their system or something on their radar. So I just said, fuck it, I'll just put it in the membership tier. It wasn't anything bad. It wasn't anything bad. It actually was funny. It had all the girls laughing because I just simply thought it was funny. I don't ever talk about politics or anything like that simply because honestly, politics is one of the many other things like religion. Like, it's just another divisive tactic. Honestly, it's another divisive tactic when in reality, if we all came together and just had a collective consciousness, people still forget you can overthrow the government. Like, people still forget that there's more of us than them. Honestly, if we all banded together, we could all overthrow the government. And for whatever, and we people are just so brainwashed, they don't even think of that as a possibility. So I don't use a curl cream. So normally I would be using Uncle Funky's Curl Magic. It's in a brown bottle. You can buy it at Walmart. Or well, you can buy it at Walmart. I meant to say Target. But what I was gonna say, so I have my hair super, super wet, and then I use that Uncle Funky's Curl Magic, but they normally I get it on Amazon. I can't buy it off of Amazon anymore. It's too overpriced at Target. So instead, I purchased the Curl Maker by Camille Rose. It pretty much has all the same stuff in it as Uncle Funky's Curl Magic. So I just section it off and I put the Uncle Funky's in first, and then I use Innersense. It's a salon gel. I ordered that off Amazon. I think you would have to go to a salon to get it. Maybe they sell it at Ulta. I think they may sell it at Ulta. But I use Innersense. It's Inner. I think it's Cense, but Innersense I create hold. I use that gel afterward, and then I just let it air dry. I did hit it with a diffuser today. That's what yeah, they have it at Ulta on their website. Yep. So you can either use Camille Rose Curl, the Curl Maker, or Uncle Funky's Curl Magic first, and then go in with Innersense I Create Hold. This is just a wash and go. And this is day one hair. I hate how my hair looks on wash day. It's just so small. I like it when it's big and it has a lot of volume. If you it's on the it when you go to the main channel, it'll be there. It'll say join, it'll say like join channel or something like that when you go to when you go to my main YouTube. It'll say join. If you click on join, and it'll say join this channel. So like right next to where it says subscribe, it'll say join. And you'll click join to join the membership tier. So next to subscribe just go to the main page, like the main landing page. It'll say subscribe and then join. You press join and it'll give you the option for the tier selection, and you could pick what tier. Most of everything is in tier 2 because it's the most popular. Most of everything is in tier 2. The last live stream was in tier 2. I put it under tier 2. I wish you would create a little routine for us on the poll and then some floor work and show us on live one day. Well, I did post one poll video. There is a routine that we learned because I'm only back in poll after It's been 9 years since I've been on the pole, and I'm back. It's only been 2 months since I've been back. So like my musicality and stuff like that, like isn't really good. And like I'm having to go back with like combos and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And figure out what combos I'm still good at and stuff like that. So I do probably plan to post like the routine that we learned yesterday because I do take a choreography class for pole too. What are your thoughts on Huda from Love Island? Do you think she's manipulative or that she gets away with things? Ooh, okay. So, all right. So I'm gonna be blunt, okay, and say what I actually think about the whole Huda situation. Okay, so Hood is young, all right. So I definitely understand that she is, young. Her brain ain't developed all the way. I personally think that Huda, she tries to see what she can get away with. And she particularly does this with black men. That's the reason why she chose Jeremiah and she chose Chris. Because I feel as though she has a superiority complex over black men. Just keeping it real. I feel as though she has a superiority complex over black men, and so she tries to see what she can get away with. That's what I think. I do think that Huda is manipulative. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and black women. No, we're talking about Huda from Love Island. She's she's Middle Eastern. Um Pretty girl. She has had some work done. Like she got a rhino, she has fillers, she's got I don't know if the freckles are real or not because her sister also had freckles. So I don't know if they just got it done together. You know what? The freckles are fake because I did see old pictures. So she also got the freckles tattooed. Um, but yeah, Huda's manipulative, honestly. Huda is manipulative. That's the reason why when Chris's mom came on the show, when Chris was asking his mom about Huda, she was just like, "You did the right thing." She's like, "I don't have anything to say." She's like, "You did the right thing. You did the right thing." So I'm interested to see how things are going to go between Chris and Huda. I'm glad they voted Ace and Shelly off. Sorry if I'm spoiling it for anyone that might have not watched yet, but best believe I'm watching tonight. I am. I'm watching tonight. And the thing about it too is that it's crazy because like Huda can have a lot of crash outs. And you could tell that like you could tell that Alandria you could tell Alandria had to hold a lot of things in with the whole Taylor and Clark situation simply because she's a black woman. Because she understands how America would perceive her if she were to crash out on the same level as Huda. Huda can crash out like crazy and it's just she's crashing out. But Alandria already knew that as a black woman, she had to just stay silent and keep the peace. Stay silent and keep the peace so that she wouldn't be perceived as like being that black woman. You know what I mean? And so she popped off a little, obviously, when she had enough, but why don't we simply ignore those who don't care for us as black women, whether it's women or men? Child, I be wondering the same thing. Honestly, I be wondering the same thing. It's just Huda's very performative. That's the thing. You could just tell that Huda's not a genuine person. It's very performative. Very, very performative. And it's like, girl, that's why Alandra told her, she's like, girl, you don't have to do all that. Like, trying to call out the guys for wanting to swap partners or whatever. And that's why Alandra's like, girl, calm down. Like, you're doing too much. You are doing way too much. It ain't even that serious. But y'all, I'm going to get off of here. Nice to have another live stream. Like I said, this week I'll be off. So I'll be on here a little bit more for live streams. Okay. So I'll spoil you guys a little bit more this week, but it was really nice chatting with you all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out the Patreon. Code AFF-Queen if you want some percentages off of some self-pleasure toys. They're already 50% off. So you'll get 50% off plus my code AFF-Queen if you want to get it cracking in the bedroom. And then obviously the membership tiers. And yeah, I will talk to you all next time. Bye.